And now, from the bowels of the internet, it's the Hatermania Podcast.
Podcast is on the air. I'm Yellkaos. Welcome, with me as always, Super Sainted Magnus.
Hello.
Astonishing Alpha Omega Sin.
Astonishing. Need something clever to say. Astonishing. It's astonishing that I haven't knocked up more women. I don't know.
And ravishing RazörFist.
Sluts and hoes and bitches and skanks and hoes.
Oh my.
Welcome to our show. We hope you guys are ready. We got a big show. As you know, nothing is going on. Nothing, not a goddamn thing. It is so boring, but we're going to do everything we can to entertain you. Why? Because that's what we do. And just so you know, only a few more weeks until we go on our summer vacation, so you guys better get your maximum fill of the 8-Bit Podcast. If you're new to the 8-Bit Podcast, check out the previous podcast. This is episode, Sainted Magnus, what episode is this?
17.
17. So, you know, we got a bunch of content. Go back and check it out. But we're not going away just yet. So, you know, stay tuned. Please do. We got a lot coming up. We're going to talk about who's an asshole and who's isn't. We're going to talk about slags and what have you. We're going to talk about EA. Got to throw away some money.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about wrestling because you guys have been busting our chops to talk about wrestling. We got some wrestling coming up.
Ooh, yeah.
And we got a rant coming. I mean, it's going to be a great big day. It's, you know, it's going to be great. So,
we got
sit
wrestling.
back in your chair.
We got wrestling. Is wrestling coming for them?
Hey,
in some respect?
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe they're
coming.
coming.
What's coming for them? You know, there's got to be
Oh,
something.
I don't know.
coming for them.
It could be a big black man. I don't know, but I'll get back to you on that. Anyway, we got a great big show. Sit back, get yourself a beverage, there's something to eat. And if you're watching us on your Nintendo 3DS, aren't we better in 3D? Anyway, on with our show.
3D.
We're going to have a great big discussion topic because that's how we kind of open the podcast. If you're new to the 8-Bit Podcast experience, we're going to talk about, now if you didn't know this already, Reggie Fils-Aime is an asshole.
Really?
No shit.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely true. The head of Nintendo of America is a great big asshole, and he's getting greater and bigger as the days go on. Now, Alpha Omega Sin and I were, we got somebody sent us an article about some stupid shit that he said about a month ago, and I couldn't think to make a video on it, and he couldn't think to make a video on it, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Alpha, what did that article say?
All right, so Reggie is complaining that gamers are insatiable. Okay, so you have the head of Nintendo of America complaining that his fans want more products. Now, hold on here. You're complaining that they want to give you money. That you are the head of a company, and to stay afloat, you need what? Money. They want to give you money, and they demand more product, and you're whining. And the funny thing is that he said this one little thing, and I was just like, I kind of just want to shove you into a fucking microwave and pop your fucking misshapen skull. And what was it? It was about it was about Nintendo Land. Let's see. Right now, I'm gonna pull up the exact quote just so I can say it word for word. And if anybody out there is just like, well, I was really looking forward to Nintendo Land, I don't appreciate the fact that you're saying it. Just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up because I don't fucking care because I don't give a goddamn about motherfucking Nintendo Land because it's a fucking tech demo. Yes, see, I did that all in one breath. But he said that
Very impressive.
Yeah, exactly, because it got those badass bitchin' lungs. But anyway, so he's saying that he's bothered by the fact that people keep on asking for all these other franchises. It's like you have all these other franchises and you keep on working on things like Super Smash Brothers. Why can't you give us all these other franchises? And then he said, well, we responded with making Nintendo Land. And they said, ho hum, do you got anything else for us? And he said it's kind of difficult to deal with that. So let me get this this bullshit straight. This motherfucker is trying to say, Nintendo Land, you know, the tech demo for the Wii U controller, the tablet controller, the fucking tech demo game, to show us how it works and all the marvelous things that it can fucking do, including get your mom off. Well,
Yeah.
just mildly. That is going to replace F-Zero. That's going to replace Earthbound. That's going to replace Wave Race. That's going to replace all these fucking things that we've been demanding time and time again. You're out of your motherfucking mind. Somebody has to fucking know what I mean. Somebody.
Yes.
Yeah. In other news, the CEO of McDonald's says his customers are insatiable. No matter how many times he makes them a hamburger, they keep coming back and asking for hamburgers eventually.
That's nonsense.
Fucking retard.
And they keep asking for this McRib thing. I don't know what the story is with that.
But that,
It's blue ball.
But it's the same overall idea. They've got a bunch of great stuff they can work with, and what are they giving us? We fit you. Uh-oh.
We Fit You, still the best fucking name out there. If
Yeah.
it does not become a porn title at some point in time within the future, I'm honestly.
I think
gonna
that's
be
literally them.
slowly
We're going to
fucking-
bend you over, and we're going
I
to
know.
fit you.
You know, we fit you, even if you say we don't trust me.
We are going to wear you like an oven mitt.
like that bad Arby's mascot that they had for like 3 months or so. Does anybody remember that? That thing
Yeah,
was
that was
fucking
terrible.
horrible. It talked. It had eyes and shit. It was like something from Jim Henson's Nightmares and shit. It was fucking terrible. Luck.
I suppose I best say something about this whole Nintendo fiasco.
Yes.
Yes. Well, all I can say is...
Just so you know, you don't have to say Nintendo and fiasco because those words are getting more and more synonymous every day.
Yeah, but to be quite honest, anything from Nintendo recently has just been a fucking fiasco. I'm sorry, it's just... That's all it is. The pricing of the Wii U, for example, we're still in the fucking dark about that. We're getting estimates ranging from $350 to $450. We had the 3DS fucking crap last year with a £250 price tag from day one. What? And now Reggie Fils-Aime saying, "Oh, we give you Nintendo Land too." So then you get, "Oh, your favourite Nintendo franchises." No, we want single fucking games. We don't want Nintendo Land. We can go and play something that's remotely similar to the fucking game it's based on, but is not actually a full game. And to be quite honest, it's just a lazy fucking cash-in. End of story.
Yeah, Nintendo Land is a demo of a demo of a demo of a franchise. And we're supposed to be really happy with this. So it's a culmination of demos of demos of demos of demos, and this is supposed to replace a full fucking 30 and 40-hour experience of what could have been a great game.
Well, don't say experience. We're not asking for an experience. We're asking for, and I know this is a wild request to be leveled at a game manufacturer, but we're asking for what are those called? Oh, right. Video games.
Whoa! What do you mean, RazörFist? A video game? Oh, what speak? What kind of shit is this?
It's kind of like asking Xbox for a fucking game at the moment.
I know it's like asking Sony for backwards compatibility or games.
Hey, we actually get games. We actually get games. Well,
I do like the fact that we're on the Nintendo subject and we managed a console war between two consoles that had nothing to do with it.
We've somehow managed to jeté into an impromptu gathering of console wars.
Well, the interesting thing was, if it wasn't, it seems like we're the only ones trying to keep a console war alive.
I know, right?
who remembers
Because,
getting
people can talk about how it's a bad thing, but realistically, they're not doing anything else. Someone might as well say something.
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
right?
We need to start this fucking war.
Why are we the only ones talking about this?
Oh, shut up, Nintendo fanboy.
Coexistence is for pussies.
Yes, exactly. And then
Exactly.
Atari needs to come back and start making consoles again, so then we can actually have somebody to actually laugh at this stuff.
Yeah, so they can screw over some other bank on another loan they don't plan to pay.
Exactly.
There you go. But here's what's interesting about Nintendo Land and all the stupid shit that Reggie has to say about. Now, I understand what they feel with Nintendo Land. If they had shown off, because you notice how they were very secretive about everything in the last year.
Because they're unprepared as a motherfucker.
And Nintendo Land. Nintendo Land apparently is going to be a smattering of all the different franchises. They're all going to get together and go play. Nintendo Land is actually a very apt name because it's just like Disneyland. Here's a bunch of small shit that's really expensive.
Yeah.
What about
You know, I
Lego
understand that
Land,
there's
for
a game
example?
Well, yeah, but there's like a game for this and a game for that and a game for this. And it's essentially a mini game collection. The only difference is Nintendo are the fucking kings of mini games, and they give you more than 7.
Yeah. Well, here's the irony is that there's going to be people out there listening right now. I can almost guarantee at least one fucking person is going to be like, why are you hating on Nintendo Land so much? I think all of you got... Look, it's not a matter of hating on it. It's a fact that they're trying to use this as a substitute for a full featured game. They're trying to use this as a substitute for an F-Zero game, a substitute for a fucking Wave Race game, a substitute for pretty much any random franchise that we've been demanding since, I don't know, forever now. They're trying to say that Nintendo Land, which is just not a tech demo, a glorified tech demo, a fucking like a scaled down Mario Party. Okay, that's what they're trying to say, that this is going to
it's the new
be able to hold you over. Yeah.
It's the new Wii Sports. But here's the thing. Now, Nintendo Land is not bad in and of itself. It looks like a lot of fun. But let's face it, standing in a field all by itself, it's going to get destroyed. Now, if they had shown up with Nintendo Land plus this, and then, one more big one, that would have been pretty neat. Like, hey, you got this program that teaches you how to use the controller, and all these games that, I don't know, you can play with the technology you've just learned.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you realize how much of a bust Wii would have been if it had launched with just Wii Play and Wii Sports? People would have said, "Fuck that shit."
I think we're just over. At the end of the day, I think gamers are over the tech demos. Look, even the things that aren't like Nintendo Land, where you're overtly saying we're a tech demo. Even at that point, guys, we're being shown games as tech demos. Assassin's Creed was shown to us as a tech demo, and ultimately it arrived as a tech demo. Fracture was sold to us as a tech demo. It was a tech demo. They were like, hey,
Fracture,
we have a neat...
Fracture actually lived up to its name.
Yes, exactly. Red Faction Guerrilla was a tech demo. Hey, look at these destruction physics. Look at these, we can blow buildings up. That's a tech demo. It's not a game.
To be fair,
I don't think anybody's going to argue the story for that game justified its existence. So.
All I remember from that game is I have a hammer. I have a hammer. Look at my hammer. Look at everything gone.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, gotta have the baggy pants. Oh. And I gotta dance across the floor back and forth and everything, and then you have to go bankrupt. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So you have to have a river.
So you really are like Nintendo. But
Anyway, enough of Nintendo. We kind of...
Yeah, so in closing, Nintendo doesn't know what they're doing. I'm very sad, and Reggie Fils-Aime is a great big asshole.
With a greasy face.
I think it's a requirement to work for Nintendo to have a greasy face.
The only reason Reggie Fils-Aime is a fucking big arsehole is because he eats too much.
Here, let me chime in with one last thing about Reggie Fils-Aime. Fact.
Faces, goddammit.
Fact. This motherfucker has his own personalized Wii Fit balance board because otherwise he would have snapped that bitch in two along with the fucking stage that he was standing on. That's my 2 cents on him.
Yeah, it's going to be the Wii Fit RGI.
Reggie.
So big it can handle this great big son of a bitch. Anyway, that's our discussion about Reggie Fils-Aime and how he's a great big asshole and he expands like that of a black hole. Anyway, we're moving
you are
to
what
slag
you eat,
bag.
So.
Hey now. Anyway, all right. We got some mail. We got some mail coming to us here into the slag bag. You know what? This week it's called the slag bag because a very nice gentleman. I forgot his name, and at this point I really don't care anymore. But I thank him anyway for suggesting we call it the slag bag. So if you'd like us to call it something else, you can leave us a suggestion. We'll probably blow you off, but hey, it might be funny. Anyway, into the slag bag, and we got mail coming to us from all sides this week. Coming to us at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. Got it coming to us over at the Facebook, facebook.com/hatebitpodcast. And you can also drop us a line at the inbox at YouTube. And Our first piece of mail actually comes from the Facebook page, and it comes from Lewis Williams, who I guess is on here every once in a while. And Lewis says, before I ask my question, I would like to say that I sent in a question before and it didn't get answered. So fuck you, Yellkaos.
Yep, you've been told.
Uh-oh.
Well, anyway, I guess that what I can say is fuck you, Lewis Williams, and there goes your fucking question onto the Gmail bag. And this one comes from Habil Kurash. And Habil says, hey, Yellkaos, Alpha, Omega Sin, Sainted, Magnus, and RazörFist. I hope that this gets chosen for the next podcast. That's right, I'm not going to read fucking Lewis Williams' question. He's a fucking piece of shit, and that's the end. There will be no mouthing off on the Hate Bit podcast. Anyway, let me see. Oh, and give us your answers and perspectives. Number one, what metal album art covers do you think would double up nicely as a video game cover? Now, that's a really good question. I like that. Number two, he says, do you think that survival horror games work better from a third-person perspective or from a first-person perspective? And thirdly, he says, what comic book series / novels would you recommend for reading? Well, I imagine you can read all of them. Provided you're versed in the language they're written in. But anyway, number one, what metal album art covers would double up nicely as a video? You know who needs to talk about this? RazörFist could probably go on for about a month about this. RazörFist,
well,
which non-Man of War albums could be video game covers?
Well, Judas Priest, Painkiller. Hello. Like,
Yes.
look at that.
That's a good.
For Christ's sake. Okay, I got the poster on my wall. I'm looking at it right now. All right. You got some big old Judas Priest symbol in the middle of like a liquid hot magma kind of like ground. And then you have like metal dude on a metal motorcycle with metal wings, like razor wings. And then he's got fire shooting out of the tailpipes and his there's a dragon head on his motorcycle and it has buzzsaw wheels. All right?
That right there, buzzsaw wheels.
I will
Fuck
buy
yes.
I will buy 50 copies of that game. I don't care if you can only play one of them. I will buy 50 copies of that game. All right. Why was there no motorcycle with buzzsaw wheels in Brutal Legend? That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
An album like that should come with a cod piece. I mean, a game like that.
And while we're at
That
it,
should come
another
with-
good one. And while we're at it, another good one would be Wasp: The Last Command, where Blackie Lawless is on the... Dude, if Blackie Lawless were a freaking military commander, I don't care if it's the most banal FPS ever. I'd play it. Blackie goddamn Lawless. And another one... But I think the best, the sort of ultimate, would the pinnacle of metal coverdom is Accept Balls to the Wall. I think we all want to play Hairy Gay Man Leg, the game.
Hairy leg and thumb.
I was gonna say we could call this sexuality questionable. It has to have its own genre. It's just like, so what field are you playing today? Well, I don't know. Roll the dice.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know, right?
Oh,
I don't know, Alpha Omega Sin, what metal album covers, man? Come on, you know you got something.
Dude, legitimately, all that came to mind immediately whenever that question came up was Maiden.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, I know it sounds cliche. Some people might be like, oh, come on, dig deeper. But, I mean, come the fuck on. The first thing that comes to mind is usually the best thing that comes to mind. And Maiden has, I mean, fuck, there's like how many different Maiden designs for posters and shirts, let alone their album covers? Jesus fucking Christ.
Dude, I know you're willing to pay for.
I got one for you, buddy. The cover, you ever seen the cover of Judas Priest Ram It Down?
Yeah. Oh.
Like the big old fist that's just smashing the world?
Oh, yes.
What if it were like Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, but there were a great big metal fucking fist coming at the world?
So it's like Brutal Legend and Majora's Mask coming together and having the most
that'll be
metal
next
baby.
The Brutal Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
nice. Oh,
Dude,
that
you know
is-
what?
that is
Somebody
good,
made a
actually.
picture of that.
You know you'd buy that game. You know you would.
Oh, I would buy. Well, okay. RazörFist said,
Hey,
he'd buy
Reggie,
50 copies. And
Here's
to be
the game
fair,
we want to buy.
I'd buy 50 copies of that game. 49 copies can sit around. I'll hand them out as fucking stocking stuffers or something and force people to play these fucking games. I'll beat them half to death if I have to.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
go on.
go ahead, Sam.
No, you go and get your point across.
In fact, it's so brutal that your Nintendo points will
Sorry,
be negative,
I'm just-
buddy.
I keep thinking of album covers. What about Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time? That'd be
Oh.
freaking
I
rad.
was actually going to say the best example would probably be any Destruction or Creator album.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I've got one that would make a good survival horror game cover. Who's
What's that?
you know the Korn Live and Rare compilation album that they made a couple of years ago?
No.
The who
no,
now?
I don't. No.
Well, basically, they've got a hand on the front of the cover, gripping some like chicken wire or chain link fence sort of thing. Now, just imagine that being a severed hand, and you think
Yeah.
survival horror game. That's my thinking behind that one.
Well, they don't make survival horror games anymore.
I know,
They're too
which is a
extreme.
shame.
They're too
Too
scary.
scary. Fucking grow a set, you love. Oh, fuck it, I can't even think of an insult to throw at you. Actually, grow a set of fucking bollocks, you bunch of limp-wristed twats. There we go.
Yeah. And if that doesn't work for you, fuck you!
Exactly. And speaking of fuck yous, actually,
See?
I have a fuck you for a listener. That I'm going to actually name and shame this cunt. The Fatty 2497. Fuck you. If I want to say shameless plug on our podcast, I'll fucking say it. So yeah, fuck you. Anybody else got a fuck you or on the fuck you phase of things? No.
Just so you know that Sainted Magnus, his opinions reflect him and the Sainted Magnus Corporation only. They do not reflect the opinions of Hatebit International.
Or
you.
McDonald's Incorporated.
Or McDonald's Incorporated, absolutely. But
Oh, hey,
here
I
at the
have
Hatebit-
another set of album covers we could throw in.
What's that?
Anybody familiar with the band Bolt Thrower?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a crossbow.
Dude, Bolt Thrower right there. I mean, several of their fucking album covers definitely could work. It just, come on, go on.
Oh,
Bolt Thrower.
yeah. Oh! What about Udo? Udo has some awesome album covers. He's got this one where
Udo
it's
Schneider?
just... Yeah, Udo Dirkschneider. He's got this one where it's called Solid, right? And it's just him, a little angry German midget, and he's got bullet holes in him, but he's still standing there because he's Udo goddamn Dirkschneider, right?
You could hit him with a cannon, he'd be fine.
That game writes itself.
Yes.
You play as a German midget and you're bulletproof. End of story.
I keep on thinking about Iron Maiden somewhere in time now. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
that
just
would be-
thinking about. Wait, there is what the fuck is that one game? It's on PC. It's
Hunter.
Yes, thank you. That keeps coming to mind now. Holy shit, man.
That game was so bad. Wow, it was awful. I wish it were good, but it's not.
But the thing is, it exists, and that alone makes me happy.
Oh man, it's like a rail shooter that doesn't work.
Which is hard to do. That's really
is.
hard to fuck up a rail shooter. Legitimately, it's kind of hard to fuck up something you don't really control. You just
Yeah.
point and click on shit.
I mean, you really have to be burning the midnight oil to fuck up a rail shooter. But anyways, so I think we covered it, unless Yellkaos has one.
I already told you, man. You pick a German thrash band and throw it on there. There's your fucking game. You don't even have to put a game.
Yeah, Sodom
be like,
M16. M16 by Sodom. Have you ever seen that album cover? The guy's got a chainsaw arm.
I thought of Agent Orange immediately.
Agent Orange would be awesome.
One, two. Well, my favorite is Destruction's Cracked Brain. It's just a guy who's high on something and the room's melting around him. It's really kind of preachy without actually being preachy.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
It's
Friday
like,
night
was
to me.
Destruction into Christian metal at the time? You know, you get confused.
Not sure what do, not sure how listen.
Ugh. Well, there is one
Anyway.
Iron Maiden cover that I think would make a great game, and it would be a RTS. And who remembers the song Trooper? Well, it's a recent fucking.
Who
So-
doesn't remember?
Yeah, I was gonna say if anybody who's listening to this podcast right now is unaware of what it is, please unsubscribe and don't
Yeah.
come back. I'm
You
dead
just-
serious. Just
you just-
unsubscribe, don't come back until you know what it is, and then you'll be allowed. Then you can listen to this and understand.
Yeah, you've defaulted on your metal license. I'm afraid.
Yeah, pretty
Yes.
much.
Well, the when they released the single, they actually released like a red coat version of Eddie with a rifle. That would look good as
Yeah.
as a game cover. I'd buy that game 15 times over.
Hey, man.
And if nobody
yeah,
likes it, fuck you.
Didn't he have several other questions in addition to this?
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Fuck him.
Yellkaos?
I'm
I think-
really creeped out.
Why?
Because our next segment comes from Dirty Sanchez, and he wrote me or you a song.
Ooh, I'm excited.
It's-
Right, I'm.
It's just
frothing with
lyrics.
anticipation.
He said, "I love myself. I want you to love me. When I'm feeling down, I want you above me. I search myself. I want you to find me. I forget myself. I want you to remind me." What is this? And I'm frightened.
I'm pretty sure that you guys have to penetrate him in the dark.
Oh.
I will penetrate him in the
I mean,
dark.
I kept looking at this. I'm like, am I getting Rick?
Are you like a rainbow in the dark?
I guess we can go that route, but
Like a rainbow in the dark.
Fuck that.
No sign of the morning coming.
Jeez.
You've been
Shut
left
up.
on the road.
Jesus. Not the cat.
also on another side note, if nobody is aware of all of these random jokes that we're throwing out there, again, unsubscribe and don't come back until you do get them.
Yes,
So
I concur wholeheartedly.
that's not me being an asshole. This is just a default fucking metal logic. Come now.
Anyway.
We continuing. So you guys have some love making going on or some shit.
I'm
Apparently so. Yeah. I mean, Dirty Sanchez. I'm sorry, man. I'm just. I maybe I
taking
love you, but not in
Sorry.
love with you.
We have a program over here called Dirty Sanchez. It's actually good. It's actually quite funny.
Well,
More extreme than
well.
Jackass.
British comedy, funny. That's a new one.
Yeah. Did you not watch any of the 80s comedies? Considering you're an 80s reject. I mean, you wanted to be part of it all the time.
No, I was part of the '80s, Sunshine.
Yeah, he was a Twitch.
Yeah, you remember RazörFist? He
He
was in Man of War for a period.
Exactly. I was in a loincloth. I was boinking your mom.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, it was great.
Like-
And then he became a washed-up has-been, had to play in World War III for a while.
Yeah,
but now he's back on top.
I was boinking her. I couldn't get to the dresser in time, and then 9 months later, out pops baby sainted Magnus.
Oh my god.
And don't forget that brief period, man, where in the early '90s where you had to sing for Alcatraz at state fairs.
I could never, I could never follow Graham Bonnet. You know that.
Ugh.
Well, there was that one time when you had to open for Jason Becker, but that's another story for another time.
Anyway, let's get on with it.
Get on with it.
The next piece of mail comes to us from the HateBit Podcast at gmail.com, and it comes from Mirza Kulinovich, and he says, "Hello, ladies," and I say, "Fuck you."
Hello.
I was what your opinion is about there being a chance of Microsoft buying out Activision, and what you think the outcome will be. Thank you very much, and I hope the show continues for many years. Well, you won't continue for many years if you keep calling us ladies, dickhead. Anyway, is there talk of Microsoft buying Activision?
Yeah, this was. I remember I was reading about this. There was a lot of people were talking about the potential of Microsoft being able to just flat out take them over, and I mean financially they could do it. The irony is that Activision has enough money that they could get bought out and then buy themselves back. So they don't really need to be bought out unless like the very, very fucking heads of the company are just like, you know what, we really don't need the shit tons of money we're already getting month after month and year after year. So let's just take a whole bunch right now because we really need that one island that we've been eyeing up. But
I don't know. But does that mean Microsoft will actually make games? That's terrifying.
I was going to say, technically, Microsoft wouldn't be making games. They would just have people making games for them under their name.
Well, that's semantics. That's semantics. Sony bought a bunch of studios the same way, and they quote-unquote make games.
Fair enough. But see, I just say that because Microsoft does, Microsoft Game Studios, but now they act like, that doesn't do anything. I'm pretty sure it's a lemonade stand now or some shit.
Well, I can see one good thing coming out of this. Do you want to know what that one good thing is? No Call of Duty
Daredevil game?
No Call of Duty on a PlayStation console.
Well, I mean, there is actually one really cool thing about that. It would give Microsoft a lot of much needed leverage because right now their first party is dwindling as far as like exclusives
It's
go.
gone.
Yeah, that's what I mean is that it's going down to pretty much we got Gears of War and Halo and
That's it.
Fable. All right. So we got these three and even then it's just like so what else do you got? What kind of new IPs you got? And they're like, "Oh, But if seriously though, all shit aside, if they actually decided we're going to go and take this buyout, it would absolutely fuck up everybody's minds, like beyond understanding. It would fuck up PC gaming, it would fuck up handheld gaming, it'd fuck up the console wars right now as we know it. It would give them a lot of leverage because the fact is they'd have Call of Duty in their pocket, and that's a big thing to have. Whether or not you like the series or you hate the series, to say that you're the sole owner of it and it's only found on your console, yeah, that pretty much makes you king shit of, pretty much Planet Turd. So, yay.
Yes.
That Planet Turd being Call of Duty.
What do you
I
guys
figured-
think?
Well, I've had my
I'm right
opinion.
here in the middle of giving less than a shit about any of this, but thank you for including me. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
I think it would be good in the sense that Microsoft would actually have a game or two come out under a Microsoft first-party label.
Woo!
But I mean, what else do they own aside from Call of Duty, Activision? I mean, they have the Marvel license,
Yeah.
Yep.
but which
Uh,
that
they,
is
they
they
did
have the,
think-
they have the Tony Hawk games.
oh god.
I
Let's
wouldn't go spreading that around.
Yeah, I wouldn't go promulgating that.
Oddly enough, I'm drawing a total fucking blank as to what Activision has. Like, I'm about to do a goddamn search right now just to fucking figure it out. Because I'm like, well, they make Call of Duty, and they got the Guitar Hero franchise, which they ran into the ground.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. Let's see here. Singularity. There we go.
That was actually
Singularity
surprisingly
was
good.
really good, but
Oh,
they
here
won't
we
do
go.
anything with that.
Transformers Dark of the Moon. Here we are.
Ooh.
Here's the real killer app. Cabela's Dangerous Hunts.
Wait a minute. I just okay. I
Oh,
thought
that
of
could have
something.
gotten totally wrong.
Activision owns Blizzard.
Oh shit. That's
What?
right.
Yeah, remember it's
Oh.
Activision Blizzard. They're a merged company, so that means if Microsoft took over Activision, they'd have Blizzard in their pocket as well, meaning that they'd have StarCraft, Diablo, they'd have World of Warcraft. That's a lot of big shit right there.
They also
Yeah,
own
and let me guess, they'd
rights.
all become mascots to help move more Halo.
Oh, they're also making yet another zombie game, the Walking Dead video game, and they own the rights to Angry Birds. Huzzah! But yeah. So. Continue.
and that was pretty much it.
Boy, this is exciting stuff. My
I know,
God,
it's
I mean,
riveting.
you know what? This is such a thought-provoking, interesting conversation that I want to put a gun in my mouth, but I want to shoot a really expensive bullet through my head.
Yes.
Anyway, we got more mail here coming to us at the YouTube inbox. You're not going to believe this. This one comes from King Mula 2. And he says, what are your thoughts on King of Fighters number 13? Now, I understand it was terrible. I don't really have much experience with it.
You're
Did
out of
anybody
your
else
mind.
play King of
It was
13?
not terrible. It was great.
Yes.
It was
I
12 that
didn't
was
play
terrible.
it. I didn't get around to it.
Yeah, 12 was a big
Was it
misstep.
12 that was terrible? Well,
Yeah.
you know,
No,
if they
12
had stuck
12
with, 94, 95, 96, I could have differentiated.
I mean, 12 isn't the worst thing ever. It's a misstep, like I said. 11 is fucking amazing and one of my all-time favorite King of Fighters games. But then 12 was several steps back from 11, and 13 is really good.
Step back. It was a step forward, and that was the problem. They had changed the art style completely, so they had to redraw everyone, which meant the character roster had to be reduced heavily, and the other features had to be reduced because they spent all their money on changing the game engine and changing the way everyone looked. So, but with King of Fighters 13, and this is why King of Fighters 13 is great, they already had the foundation to build on, so they could just add characters and add moves and add features. you know, and and the online still doesn't work particularly well, but it's still a really great game.
Yeah, I was going to say that's one of the things that a lot of people I know were having issues with is going online and trying to get shit to happen, you know, actual matches.
Yeah.
That's a big deal nowadays, you know, because people just, for whatever reason or another, don't sit down with one another and play games against each other in the same room. It's real weird. I don't know why people don't do that. It's like a lost art or some shit.
No, but King of Fighters 13 wasn't too bad actually. I've played it myself. It's a good fun game actually.
No, I thought it was really, really good. Not Virtua Fighter 5 good, but really fucking good. And
Is
much
anything as
better,
good as Virtua Fighter 5?
better than anything Capcom
No,
cranked
nothing.
out over the last several years, for sure.
No,
But,
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad we had a nice long talk about that. Anyway, we got another piece of mail, and it comes from Death Gera 4. And Death Gera says, or no, Justin, I beg your pardon. He goes by Justin as well. He says, hey there, 8-Bit Podcast. I was
Hello.
wondering what your guys' thoughts, on the rumored cancellation of Final Fantasy Versus XIII, and also
Oh,
on
that
the
shit
speculated...
again.
Yeah, I know, but hold on a second.
Should we defer until I do my rant?
Oh, do you wanna? Do you really
Let's
wanna?
tease
Yes.
that. Let's tease that right
You know
now,
what,
folks.
No,
If you
what, Justin,
listen,
fuck you for trying to ruin RazörFist's rant.
no, let's just tease that right now. I'll do Yellkaos'
tease that?
job for him.
Yes.
The rant at the end of today's episode is going to be on Final Fantasy Versus XIII's cancellation. So, stick to the end, and you'll receive my throbbing ideological genitalia. I don't know where I was going with that, but fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
that
Just stick it in and hope for the best. That's what I've done.
I'm very proud of you for, trying to do what it is that you do, but I don't think you knew what it is that you were doing. But I'm very proud of you either way.
That's usually where I come up with my best stuff.
Yeah.
I know. Wow.
Alrighty then.
We've
that all we
hit
have
a
to
spot
say?
in the 8-Bit Podcast where we're all kind of a little speechless here, what with genitalia being thrown about and everything.
Yeah, when you
But,
start throwing it about and everything and nobody has their mouth open, all of a sudden it's just real awkward for everybody because it's like, oh.
I know, because it's so inappropriate at certain parties, but so very appropriate at other parties.
And see, and this is a 4-man show, so if we're tossing genitalia around, we're all just like, nobody brought a guest. Well, this is just
No,
awkward
that's
now.
what
We
Yeah,
call that
yeah,
we
we need
call
some-
that we call that the Bobbit effect. But
Yeah, in
let's
fact, you know what?
continue
I'm
on.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to new segments. But one thing I want to plug real quick before we get into the rest of the podcast here, I just want to say, ladies, lady gamers, lady YouTubers out there, if you want to be the 8-Bit Podcast bitch, please drop us a line at 8bitpodcast@gmail.com.
What?
And
What?
never mind.
Are you trying to get women on this?
Well, hey, he's the one that said he could get your junk around and people with their mouths open. I figured this is a perfect opportunity, don't you?
No, fair enough.
Wait a minute. So are we going to have our own prostitution ring? Because I'm down for this.
No, not prostitution. Not prostitution. That costs money.
Well, no, that's how you make money. I mean, I'm all about trying to make
well,
some
that's
illegal
true.
money.
In Nevada, maybe, I don't know. RazörFist is it illegal in Arizona?
Nothing's illegal in Arizona.
Well, fuck off.
There you go.
Guys, I'm in PA. I mean, it's terribly illegal over here unless you're down at the Avalon Hotel, and nobody's going to get that joke unless they literally live near me, but still,
Is this tourism advice?
Put it this way. Avalon Hotel is where you go if you want middle-aged crabs. So there you go. Avoid the place like it's a fucking plague, because it really is. But it's a plague that comes from a fucking rusted shut cunt that just so happens to keep opening up because there's dollar bills flying about.
You know what's amazing? This podcast has everything.
Yes, it does.
We've got love, we've got hate, we've got tourism advice for Pennsylvania. You can't get that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, how about we get on with
Anyway,
some news?
Yeah, I know. Before I fuck up the rest of this podcast, let's dive into the news. Hey, guess what? EA apparently has been in a antitrust lawsuit for some time, and it didn't get to me until, I guess this goes back to like 2008, and we just found out about it. And apparently they've had to settle in a class action antitrust lawsuit for $27 million that, apparently they violated some sort of antitrust law, and now they have to pay money back to consumers. Alpha, do you know more about this? Because this is...
Pretty much. Okay, they done fucked up because now they owe people that bought the game money. So this is millions and millions of gamers around the world who have bought millions of copies of these games for years. And I'm talking all the way back to I believe it's 2005 and all the way up to currently. And they'll have to pay individuals per game upwards of like $6 and some change. So just imagine, and most people who buy sports games every single year will buy them, all right, I got Madden 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so all those games, and that person could be getting paid because apparently they were all being overcharged by Electronic Arts. And that's what this lawsuit is stemming from. So now they're going to be paying out a whole fucking butt ton of money. The only thing that I hold in question is how exactly is everybody going to go about proving that they went and purchased said game and or games over the course of the years to be able to obtain this money? I have no fucking clue. But, if you want to, if you're a sports fan and you want to ream Electronic Arts or just get a couple extra dollars just for shits and giggles from a gigantic fucking fat company like them, then by all means, check it out because it's all in good fun and have some yucks at their expense. Ha ha.
I'm just curious how they calculated this number.
What is the basis for the antitrust? What is the
You've got it in front of you. Who is forming the class action lawsuit?
Yeah, that's the only part that's kind of murky because both news articles don't really explain that in great
Don't you
detail.
love video game journalism?
Yeah,
that's
the
don't
thing
actually
that,
report anything.
Dude, that's what fucked my head up about it because, this is legit, and I have heard about this. It just doesn't really say. Keep in mind that this is multiple sites now, and detailing this in great detail, but they're not saying who filed this and blah, blah, blah. Just that Electronic Arts...
Wait a minute. Is there like a video game journalism client privilege that we're unaware of to where they don't have to tell us?
If that's the case, wait, are they getting paid off too? Motherfuckers.
Well, and don't forget the other part of this article here. It says that they cannot renew their current NCAA license. Oh, no!
Well, see, that's actually going to be a big deal for them because way back in the day, for anybody who was around for the Dreamcast launch and everything, is well aware that Sega was popping at a bunch of really good sports games. Whether you like sports games or not, Sega was doing a fantastic job, and they actually were putting out the NFL 2K series. Then Electronic Arts came along after a couple years and said, yeah, well, we have exclusive rights now to NCAA, to NBA, to MLB, to anything that they could fucking get their hands on. But the biggest thing that they got their hands on was the NFL license. And that's what fucked everybody up, was that nobody else could go and scramble for that. And then all of a sudden, everybody's just kind of pissed off about it. People tried suing Electronic Arts over this, saying that you can't do that. You're monopolizing an entire fucking thing that everybody should be allowed to make a game for. They said, fuck you. We don't really give a damn. NFL apparently got paid a pretty penny, considering the fact that they were just like, yeah, whatever. We don't want all these companies making games for us so we can make even more fucking money. But, whatever. Basically, they got sued. They fucking lost because they settled out of court. Me and Yellkaos assume that they got hit up for probably about $50 million, and they settled on half of that, which is about $25 million. Where they got the number from, who the fuck knows? I assume they pulled it out of their ass, thin air, which the fuck ever. But
just like the plot of Mass Effect 3.
Well, yeah.
Oh, what do you want to bet it's 2K Sports that's alleging these file this lawsuit?
They should. They have legitimate reason for a long time.
I agree.
2K and all the other sports games manufacturers, man, they got fucked in the ass. They had to. Okay, now you've got the MLB license. Well, MLB I think has been 2K and MLB the Show at least until 2K folded up shop and went home. So I don't think that's a problem. But you end up with these generic like offshoots. Like remember Slugfest? You know, like it didn't have an MLB license, so everything was fictional.
Yeah,
And,
that's the
like,
thing. Whenever it doesn't have the official license, nobody gives two fucks about it because your
Exactly.
target audience is just like, I don't recognize this, and this isn't like some Mutant League football or Mutant League hockey shit that we're talking about here. You know, I mean,
That's
even
a shame, though.
NFL Blitz, you know, they had to go with some generic bullshit for a while. That doesn't fucking work. Nobody wants to go after something with just made up teams anymore. They want the real deal, and Electronic Arts knew that,
but
and they didn't give a fuck.
I can't believe how easily bought off people are that they'll go after something simply because there's a fucking license from something they watch on television.
I can
Yeah.
believe it.
I know you're making one case and I'm making another case. I cannot fucking believe how dumb people are. That's right, I'm attacking the audience. You people are fucking retards. Are you shitting me? We have Madden loyalists out there. There are people that will not play a video game unless it's sponsored and completely has the consent of Major League Baseball. Do you think Major League Baseball or the National Football League or the National Hockey League know a goddamn thing about video games? No, they don't. You're a bunch of sheep and you will do what you're told. Wait a
But
minute,
I don't recognize that pitcher. I mean,
Wait a
who
minute.
is this?
I think I'm supposed to remain indifferent or oh shit, I fucked up. Oh well, what are you gonna do?
Okay, well,
I thought
basically,
I was supposed to be impartial.
long story short, Electronic Arts is paying out a bunch of money. Ha ha ha. The end.
Yeah, suck it, suck it, suck it.
There you go. You know,
And it's going
crazy.
into the fucking pockets of the fans. That's even better. This
That's
isn't
the
just
best
a
part of it.
fucking
got
group.
that number. You know.
That's the best part. It's not, it's not Treyarch suing Activision, and them. Oh, these millionaires are suing these other millionaires, and they'll get one of them is going to get several more $1 million out of it. No. The money actually goes to the people who got fucked in the ass.
Yeah.
The fans.
And they have been getting fucked in the ass for, a very, very, very fucking long time. Electronic Arts was well aware of that, and now, it pretty much came full circle. So, yeah, but
Well,
now it's monetarily.
Kick bought a whole bunch of their games, and they want their money back now.
Yeah. No, the thing is what I want to know is what about people that bought other EA fucking titles that they've been overcharged for?
Yeah, like people who bought Mass Effect 3 for full price but didn't get all the DLC that was on the disc. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Huh? That's very important.
Which, by the way, wasn't me because I got that crap for free, so screw you guys. I only had to play a review copy. Suckers.
So
Yeah.
RazörFist says, "My life is great. Watch me burn the bridge behind me."
Yes.
Well, anyway, so EA, they had to pay out a bunch of money. Good, fuck them, whatever. And they're just gonna, find a way to, pass that cost down to the consumer. So keep an eye out for that if you start seeing a rise in downloadable content and shit for EA titles. Anyway, we got another piece of news to go over, and Saint and Magnus was very excited talking about this. That apparently Borderlands 2 is 58 hours long.
Yep. Each single player campaign for Borderlands 2 is 60 hours long. What a fucking result!
That's
Fuck
a long
yes.
time to run around dungeons and loot them up.
Hey, loot, dude, I will drop that many hours into a fucking loot FPS. Fucking right. Borderlands is the shit. I am absolutely tickled pink with this. This kind of news makes
I
me
don't want
happy.
to hear
'cause-
about you tickling your pink, Alpha.
Well, hey, okay,
wanna
what do you
hear
think I'm
about-
doing throughout the entire duration of the podcast? That's why I'm always in a jovial mood. So, playing target practice in here.
Oh,
You're gonna go blind, Alpha.
he already is.
Well, you know what? That's absolutely fine. I'll just Ray Charles my way through the rest of my videos from here on out. I'll be okay.
Oh well.
I'd shake your hand.
Yeah.
It's probably all hairy.
I was gonna say no. Shake the other hand, the one that doesn't get enough
What
love.
about the one that's sticky?
Yeah.
Oh wait, is that the stranger?
The one I'm not wiping off on my jeans.
Yeah.
That's the other woman.
Yeah, that's the stranger.
But
Yeah.
no, look, I mean, I thought Borderlands was okay. I also think it's kind of gimmicky, and I forgot the main story of that game like 5 minutes after I played it.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that about again?
Um,
Okay, we're in a post-apocalyptic world. I think we're looking for something.
To be honest, I thought the story and all the DLC was 50 times better than in the main campaign of the game when you get it. Like, all the DLC story was fuck tons better and just more entertaining and more amusing in general. But yeah, I mean, it is a basic loot game, but it's a fun as fuck co-op game.
It's really
I just
good
think
co-op.
it suffered from. I think it suffered due to the fact that Fallout 3 had just come out, and it was like.
Oh, there was comparisons out the ass, like tons.
Yeah, I think it suffered from that a little bit. I mean, obviously it did really well anyways, but they really hoard the co-op component because that was one of the big differentiating factors between it and Fallout. But I gotta be honest, the story didn't do anything for me. Co-op was okay, but your character wasn't customizable at all, which really pissed me off. And it was just kind of your 4 standard types. It was Diablo with guns.
It was
Honestly, that really is what the game is all about. It's Diablo, first person shooting. Here's a bunch of fucking weapons that pretty much are going to give you your subtypes and whatnot. Yay. Besides your fucking skill tree and what have you. But I don't know, man. I really didn't expect to like the game as much as I did. I got the game into Year Edition, picked it up, loved the living shit out of it. I mean, I played the living hell out of it. And as soon as Part 2 was announced, I've been all over this shit like gangbusters.
But isn't that a benchmark for how utterly and unyieldingly shit the modern video game industry is? We're impressed when something simply doesn't suck 20 different shades of cock. You know what I mean? Like
that's sadly true.
Yeah, but
I agree that I was in the same boat as you. I thought the game was gonna suck, and then I played it and I was like, oh, it doesn't suck. It's not amazing. Well,
no, it's just so much.
You know what I mean?
But the thing is, you're looking way too much into it. It's a fun game. It's a fun game that people can play, and it's not 50 Shades of fucking grey. That you
it
keep,
is.
Taunting on about.
It is gray, and it's very, very gray and brown. It's
Actually, I'm going to disagree. Sean, St. Magnus, I think that you are painting over the obvious. That everything is shit, and we're supposed to be happy when something doesn't suck as hard.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm saying is that we should appreciate the fact that it's a good game.
No, I'm saying we should demand that these fuckers actually work.
Well, it does work.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, they should make a game. They should make a game that's actually going to impress. All they seem to be doing is, it seems like we're kind of like in Hollywood, and like the late 1950s. Like, oh, it's a movie. They'll watch this.
Exactly. It's like
Motion
that's exactly where we are. They'll just, oh well, we got to sell something.
We've been conditioned to the point where if it just doesn't shit itself, we're amazed. And we call it the greatest game ever. You know what I mean? Like that's the only point I'm trying to make here. I think instead of making something really just fucking awesome, we end up with really kind of banal,
Yeah,
look, Metro 2033 is all right. Is it the second coming of Christ that people paint it out to be? No. But in a season when there were no good games, everybody finished in their pants over it.
Okay, well, here, I can say this much about it. As a person who, I actually dig dungeon crawling style RPGs and everything, and I dig loot style games, Diablo 2 being king shit of that, and anybody who argues that, you are fucking insane. But I will say that if you were into those style of games and you go and give Borderlands a try, it genuinely, it makes you like, yeah, this is fucking awesome because it does what it does well. Does it have the best story in the entire world? No. Honestly, I don't know much of the story outside of the DLC because the main story campaign, like I said, didn't really interest me at all. When I got into the DLC, it was pretty fucking cool. I was like, hey, this is pretty badass. But as a fun run-around co-op dungeon crawling fucking loot game, yeah, it does that in fucking spades, does it well, controls well, looks good, it's fun. That's all I really ask out of a game. Entertain the shit out of me.
So it's a Mountain Dew game, you're saying?
I'm drinking Mountain Dew right now.
Yeah,
so
you get loaded up on Mountain Dew and you just fucking play this game. Ah! I've been to those parties. Those people scare the shit out of me. They're the same ones who do 24-hour webcasts of every fucking, Legend of Zelda game. They're crazy people.
You mean Screw Attack?
hey now.
The guys
Hey,
who cover up their bald heads with baseball caps, those guys?
I say it doesn't count as a shameless plug. Let's not plug other people on here, all right?
Yes, please.
Let's not give any more credit than if they want to talk about us, that's fine, But anyway,
It'll be negatively.
wow, just a magnificently long game. Well, good for them, and you guys, you say you enjoy the Borderlands, and I'm happy for you. I'm happy that someone's getting games that they like because I know that I'm not. But that's
Well, what games do you?
we talked about
we
that
all
before.
can't have a Mario game every 5 minutes. You know that.
No, well, exactly. I know, right? I'm still waiting for the HD remake of Gyromite myself. Anyway,
With your Wii version of Rob the Robot.
let's see. Yeah, and I know, right? It's gonna look like Reggie.
He better be a fucking Roomba in addition to being a Rob the Robot. Like, clean my shit, bitch. And then he
Clean
goes
my
around.
house. Fix me
He
sandwich.
still requires
Yeah,
a D
like,
patch to run
Rob,
as
if
well.
you don't,
It
if
is
he does
Nintendo.
not come
Mike
in the
tried to
room,
force you to eat sushi or something.
he needs to come in with a Mountain Dew. There you go. See,
Yeah,
talking about
there
Mountain
you
Dew.
go. You know what? We got to do something, man. That's an invention that's worth making, right?
Trademark. Hate Bit Podcast trademark.
There. So if anybody steals this idea, I will come to your house and kill you with a claw hammer.
Remember,
Anyway,
there's 4 of us and only one of your stupid little asses.
that's right, goddammit. Anyway, we've got to move on with the rest of the podcast. You know what it's time for? It's time for the video game circle jerk. And this part, we'll talk about the games that we're really into as of late. And I'm not into anything.
Boy, Mr. Positivity over here today.
I know. Fuck this and fuck everything. And I actually just picked up Star Fox 64 3D for the 3DS, and it's actually bitching.
It's awesome, dude. It's really
Yes,
good. The 3D on it's great. They improved the graphics a lot, the textures. It's great.
You know what's funny is, and the only thing that upset me, and maybe just from my perspective, but they re-recorded all the voice work. They didn't just use the old voice work from the original game. They re-recorded it. And I was like, this was your genuine opportunity to right a wrong and just make everything You could have fixed that. But all that aside, it's a great game. Razor, what are you playing, man?
I am on an Elder Scrolls kick. I have been playing Morrowind and Oblivion simultaneously. Basically,
Ooh.
I've been going two-fisted on that shit, and I'm enjoying Oblivion a lot. Morrowind I've always enjoyed, but not as much. I said it in my Elder Scrolls retrospective. You say shameless plug, and I will cut your damn throat, Sainted.
Right.
Uh,
Shameless plug.
With this cock.
I don't give a shit. I'll say
I-
what the fuck.
with a box cutter.
Oh,
No,
Oh,
but no,
with a credit card.
I said it before, I like Oblivion a lot. I think it's mostly elitist claptrap that people say Oblivion is an inferior game, and while it's 1,000 times better than Skyrim, it's better in a lot of ways than Morrowind. Inferior in some ways, true, admittedly. Everything's inferior to Daggerfall, but that's another story.
Yeah.
another shameless plug.
And it isn't a shameless plug.
Well, you're always on
God.
about Daggerfall.
Dude, Daggerfall is amazing tastical fuck sticks. I don't know where I was going with that, but yes.
That should be on the cover of a greatest hits, like amazing fuck stick. Alpha Omega.
It's like ... fill in the blank, fuck you.
Yeah,
It's amazing played.
one day, Alpha, when you're a serious video game journalist,
Oh yeah. Serious
when you're a
my
serious
ass.
video game journalist, like
You're in the big time.
to the
Yeah.
point that video game companies actually will put quotes from your show on their boxes, that'll be all there. It's an amazing fuckness thing that does that.
That's coming down the tracks. Pretty soon they're going to put just shit we say about games on packaging. Is like the new whatever game, and then the Hate Bit podcast says "fuck you."
Exactly. But and that's basically what I've been doing. Oblivion's fucking great. I've been playing through all the DLC because I got all the DLC for it. Knights of the Nine, and what was the other one
Shivering
called?
Isles.
Shivering Isles, which are both really good.
Are you playing it on PC?
I'm surprised a lot of the free DLC, like Maroon's Razor, are actually pretty elaborate. Maroon's Razor is like a long ass quest, one of the longest missions you can do in the entire fucking game, and it's DLC. It was day one free DLC for Oblivion,
And good as well.
and very, very good, and an awesome weapon that you get at the end of it. This badass dagger that it has a 50% chance every time you hit someone with it of banishing someone to the Daedric realm, which is basically effectively an instant kill.
Yep.
Which is that's just cool.
I love the Daedric Realm. I love doing those missions. They were fun. I used to run around just for shits and giggles, just to actually find a Daedric realms to go into, just to see what shit I could get.
And one more, indicator of Skyrim's lack of replayability, and that was arguably the thing that took the biggest hit in Skyrim, because they took away classes, because they took away so much of the variability in the narrative and things like that. I'm on like my 5th or 6th Oblivion character, and I'm still loving this game and haven't yet experienced anywhere near the complete, everything that the game has to offer as far as story and side quests and shit. Skyrim, man, I'm not even on my 2nd character yet. I don't even care. So it's you can pretty much do everything in one playthrough on that game. Anyways.
Exactly.
What about Alpha? What have you been playing?
I've been playing a whole smorgasbord of bullshit.
A smorgasbord, you say?
Indeed, a big old helping of it. Recently, I've been playing more of Deep Fear on the Saturn. I had to emulate the PAL copy of it because I don't have like $200 to fucking shell out for a legit copy. So I've been playing that version, and it is it's just you have to play it. It's so fucking funny to play through. It really is. It's easy as shit though. Like holy balls, is it easy? Like I'm barely trying. These enemies are just like, I don't know what to do. I'm dead. Okay, moving forward. But beyond that, the games I've been playing a whole lot of. I've been playing Dynasty Warriors Gundam 2, which is really random because I haven't played a Dynasty Warriors style game in years. I don't even remember the last one I played.
Have you played the new Warriors Orochi?
No, I haven't. I haven't touched like anything since Dynasty Warriors 5.
My video editor, whichever it was it the new Dynasty Warriors that came out? I don't know, like 3 or 4 months ago. Was it New Dynasty Warriors or Warriors Orochi?
Probably Warriors Orochi.
Whichever one just came out. Yeah, Warriors Orochi. Okay, that's what he's been playing, and he says it's fucking amazing. It's really.
See, I've been wanting to get into them again and play them because I played the living shit out of them when I was younger and loved them because it's hack and slash. Bordering on beat 'em up style gameplay. You just kill waves of enemies and get stronger. It's cool, but the thing is, it's also Gundam, and Gundams are pretty fucking sweet. Whether you like the anime is irrelevant because you're a fucking mech killing other mechs. It's just cool shit. And I'm playing as right now. I'm going through the individual missions. So I'm playing as oh my god, now I can't remember fucking character's name, but I'm running around as the Epion. Gundam, which is my favorite Gundam in the entire series. He's just fucking cool as shit. Beyond that, let's see. I'm just playing other little random games here and there for shits and giggles just because I can. Like, I started up the Darkness 2 because I was bored. And I was like, fuck it, I'll give it a go. And I've been playing Dead Rising 2 off the record because it's easy to pick up and play through the sandbox mode and just level up Frank whenever the fuck I get bored. So, yeah, that's all the random bullshit that I've been playing, and it's been fun. And yes, Sainted, whatever you've been playing, stuff.
The Saboteur on the PS3.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Basically a World War II Grand Theft Auto with Assassin's Creed elements thrown in for good measure.
Something good that EA did.
Yeah, something good that EA did.
Yeah.
Really
yeah,
should.
and they promptly closed and then they closed the studio before the game was released. Classy stuff.
Wah, 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 because they're fucking morons.
Sorry, Pandemic.
Yeah.
On the 32X, I was playing Mortal Kombat 2 for a good few hours the other day. DS, just 2 games on that. Been playing Pokemon Silver again. Or Soul Silver if you want to be fucking splitting hairs. And Power Rangers Super Legends, which is actually a surprisingly good game. Moving on, Yellkaos, your turn.
Oh no, he hasn't been playing shit.
No, fuck everything. Fuck everything and everybody.
You know, here, I got one.
Star Fox 64 3D.
I have one more to add to the pile because I forgot about this because I just played it last night. Finally, I decided I'm going to pop in Cursed Mountain on Nintendo Wii, a survival horror game, and I was like, I'm going to give this a go. And I want to know if the people who designed the level layout for Resident Evil Survivor on PS1 designed the level layout for Cursed Mountain, because I'm pretty sure that they did. Because here's how you get around town. If somebody says, excuse me, how do I get to the market? I want to go and buy some fresh fruit. Well, you see, you go down this alleyway, make a right. Now you go through the door, through the house, go upstairs of this house, exit out the door. Now go across this rooftop into another person's house, go through a church, down some stairs, down a couple streets. Now you're going to go through this gigantic empty building with nothing in it but a couple of corpses with flies around them. And then when you come out of there, you might see it. I'm pretty sure you'll see it, but with how shitty the fucking game looks, you really can't fucking tell. But yeah. Other than that, it's kind of amusing, I guess. Maybe. Yeah.
So wait a minute. How do we get to the market?
You just go through okay, Air. Up, left, right, up some stairs. But yeah, it's a
Can you
fucking
imagine
mess.
So when I get to the Lost Hills, where do I go?
Can you imagine if he had a GPS? It'd look like the fucking line would look like fucking fusilli pasta or something.
Dude, it's such a mess. Like, I don't know if any of you have played Resident Evil Survivor, but it has like the same exact absurd layout where it's like, go down the street. Okay, well, the street just ends, so the only place to go is into this house. Once you go through the house, you exit, and then all of a sudden you're in the back. You're in like the backyard of some random bar. You go through the bar. This exits into an arcade, which exits into a church, which exits into a laboratory, which exits into a military base. And it may sound like I'm just saying this stuff for comedic value. I'm not fucking joking, even in the slightest. That's Resident Evil Survivor's map. Like, there's no fucking sarcasm in my voice at all. Humorous, yes, but it's the same thing with Cursed Mountain. It's just like, who the fuck designed this? And it's worse with Cursed Mountain because everything looks exactly the same. You can't differentiate one area from the last because it's all the same exact fucking texture, models everywhere. Just fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry, I long-winded, but I want to throw that out there. It was amazing.
So in short, fuck that game.
Yeah, pretty much.
We never state our resentment outright. We just bottle it up inside until it explodes in homicidal fashion.
Yes, which is good because in the event that you ever meet us out in person, ask us questions and we just might kill you.
Exactly.
And then you'll be in. So there's some blog that'll cover the whole thing. You know, 8-bit host kills some guy.
It's the circle of life. Come
Isn't
on.
it?
Come on, boys.
Is it though?
Let's gather hands.
Oh god.
Come on.
I thought you were gonna ask us to sing more. I'm like, that's pretty much the whole song.
Well, here, I want to. It makes me kind of curious how many people who listen to this and think we're all hanging out in one room and we're just like shooting the shit. that always amuses me. I'm sure there's probably somebody who's just like, wait a minute, did Alpha really say that? Really? Mind fuck. Whoa. So yes, we're nowhere near one another.
Well, you're not supposed to tell him that, goddammit. We were all in the same studio on Antarctica, and yeah.
We're filming the moon landing and this show.
We're at the Hall of Justice right now, doing this recording.
I thought we were with the Legion of Doom.
Oh yeah, it's the weekend. I'm sorry.
We were at the Hall of Doom, Conference Room B, and this is where we do the show. Anyway, that was the video game circle jerk, and we jerked all over it. So now we have to do halftime. Dun 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 dun. One of these days, I'm gonna get some fucking music, and then you guys aren't gonna know what hit you.
We'll
But we're
just
gonna go
hire
back
Lady Gaga to do it one year.
Okay, but it's just gonna be her. All we can afford is her going da 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 da.
I don't think we can even afford that.
I don't think we can afford that either. So if you want Lady Gaga on the 8-Bit Podcast, please send your money to.
So what?
I'm sorry. Anyway, we have to go into the colostomy bag now because we have more questions, and we want to lay it on there for you because you guys are good enough to write to us, and so we figured we'd be good enough, and you know goddamn well we are, to answer you. So our first piece comes from, it's actually coming from the YouTube inbox, and this one comes from, I'm not sure if it's pronounced Lupusio or Lupusilo, but he's comments. He's a frequenter in the comment section and also on the Facebook and so on, and we appreciate it.
Thank
and
you.
He said, yeah, we do very much so. And he says, and I have to read this out loud. And if you were born in the '80s, you'll understand this. If you weren't, too bad. The Subject line for this piece of mail says, Sony stuck between a rock and a hard-on.
Ooh.
See, no one got that joke. But anyway, if you're really a big fan of Michael Keaton, you would have picked up on that. Anyway, Lupucio says, hey, guys.
Hey.
Okay.
Hi.
He says, as far as I can see, Sony is in a tough situation. Just adding power and more power to their next console or consoles has proven to be unsustainable. And if they follow this path, we'll end up with $900 consoles no one can afford. What do you think will be Sony's next big gimmick to stay afloat? We know Nintendo has a touchscreen and wacky ways to play. Microsoft has Xbox Live and all the social features and all that good stuff. What can Sony do to survive? He also says, by the way, Alpha, as soon as your Make Women Fuck Me cologne comes out, I'd like to order a case and a box of titanium condoms.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So what is up? Does anybody have a theory?
I don't even, man. I would challenge the notion that it's just that they've gone for better hardware, because well, number one, the 360 tops them out in some categories. Technically, it has more RAM and things like that. It's not that they have. It's not that they have more, technological prowess. It's not that they've, priced themselves out of the market that way. They've priced themselves out of the market because the hardware that they've gotten, regardless of how well it serves its function, is too exotic. And at the time when it came out, a Blu-ray drive was too expensive to produce. And yet they did it anyways because they had to whore Sony's new media format. That's one of the big reasons why. It's one of the big reasons why they had to cut backwards compatibility out of the console, because they were selling each console at a loss. So it was really... It actually speaks to the thing where we're talking about several episodes back, when that lady said that the lady who used to work for Sony and who writes for the New York Times said that, one hand at Sony doesn't know what the other hand is up to. And they're all kind of working against each other, but then they kind of smash them all together and say, okay, now it's our new console. You can definitely see that in the PlayStation 3. Because it's like, oh, we're going to have the Blu-ray drive, but then we're going to have this and we're going to have that. And then none of the features really end up coalescing. Or, end up... most of these features, some they've actually removed. So it's like, what the fuck? I would challenge the basic premise of his argument or whatever.
Well, one thing that, I can go along with that in certain aspects. But number one, it seems to me that Sony is the one who kind of set the standard for this product. Your current product is simply an advertisement for your next product.
Kind of, yeah.
And this seems to be kind of following in those footsteps, and that's a dangerous place to be. And also, it seems to me that Sony doesn't understand that you don't make money with the console; you make money with the software.
Well, they seem to understand that perfectly well. They're throwing all the software they can at it.
Am I wrong in thinking that the Blu-ray format has kind of stalled?
It has, to be quite honest.
Oh, it absolutely has, man. When I was working at, I used to work at a different record store, right? And
wait! You've worked at more than one record store? How the fuck is that?
I worked at 3 over the course of my life. Yeah.
My God, man!
I used to work at.
Did you work at Zia Records?
Yeah, I told you I did. Anyway.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I've
been
drinking.
Okay, the Blu-ray had been out by that point for about, it was 2009, so 3 years, right? Like it originally came onto the market in 2006, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
And the largest amount of Blu-rays I ever saw leave the store left in the arms of someone who was stealing them. You know what I mean? Like nobody bought these things. Nobody, and they're still too expensive. And more to the point, they just don't have enough new features that DVDs don't have. It's as simple as that.
On top of the fact, the Blu-ray can hold this unbelievable amount of information, and there's just not that much information to go around.
Yeah, and they're literally getting to the point where they can fit more material onto the DVD. But they are now, at least Sony Pictures are doing this, they are taking special features off of the DVD and putting them specifically on the Blu-ray so that they can sell more Blu-rays. It's pathetic. It is pathetic.
That sounds so fucking childish. Like, this is my ball and I'm taking it.
It is. It's exactly what they're doing. You're not buying my format, so I'm going to take your special features and I'm going to put it on the Blu-ray. You
Dude,
better buy
and
this.
It's extra
think the
easy
thing-
for them to do because Sony Pictures is massive. I
They
mean, think
are
about
massive.
all the things that they cover within
Actually,
TV and movies.
Right now, dude, Sony Pictures is what? I think it's the only division of Sony right now that is turning a profit, is Sony Pictures.
What?
Yeah, it's
Somebody's actually making money making movies?
apparently.
Wow. Man, they must not be paying those
it-
fuckers anything.
Either way, it's their most profitable division without question.
Uh-huh.
But again, like let me go back to my original argument. I don't think it has enough over the DVD. You know, the DVD had a lot over the VHS. You could skip
Oh, yeah.
scenes. You could hear director commentaries. You could
You
get
could
your
watch it more than X amount of times before it wore out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, as an ancillary benefit, it also looked better. With the Blu-ray, it looks better and it holds more data. Congratulations, you have just itemized the 2 features it has over the DVD.
Well,
And that's just not enough.
Well, I'm just blown away because I would have not arguments, but conversations, and I've seen people on the YouTube, you know, and they go over their DVD collection. I own all these DVDs now. I had to upgrade from VHS. Now I understand that you want to preserve the VHS or whatever, but then there's people going to talk about they're going to buy everything all over again on Blu-ray. Number one, that assumes that everything will be released on Blu-ray, and number two, what are you fucking stupid?
Well, and it's important too, from another perspective, to look at how the DVD was adapted. I mean, it came out in 1997. They test marketed it in 1996. By the year 2000, it was the gold standard. Period. Okay. From 97 to 2000, 3 years, it became the dominant format. The Blu-ray has been on the market since 2006. It is still not the dominant format.
Well, you know, I've always likened it to the non-rise of the Sony Betamax format,
Or
which
the
is
laser
actually-
disc. It's very
Or the
much like the
Laserdisc.
laser disc.
It's very much like the Laserdisc. It offered this many features, and that was about all.
But this is a whole other rant.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, really, if they're gonna go in any direction to really upgrade, at least in my opinion, I think the only way that they can really go up is as far as like physical. You know, I want to hold what I'm going to own. I want to be able to hold it without it being digital. Is Flash. I want something that's just straight Flash because I mean we've moved beyond needing anything that's going to read a disc. That's tons of moving parts. That's tons of shit that can break down, wear down, and just overall not work anymore. And it would save them tons of money to just have something that's Flash based. I mean, look at the hue cards back on the TurboGrafx 16. Okay, imagine taking something that size for flash memory. That's about the size of a compact portable hard drive. Okay, you could take something like that. That's an absurd amount of space to have on there, which would put most Blu-rays to fucking shame, assuming that you adapted it. And you can still
even
get the
so,
same
do they
exact
still-
video quality. You can still get pretty much anything that you want. The read and write speeds on it can be faster. And you can chuck a fucking flash drive at a wall, and you know what? You can pick it up and continue to use it. Whereas if you do that to a disc or you step on it, you fart on it too hard, anything like that, it's not going to have nearly as good of a day.
Well, I think that another point that needs to be made is now, while we're talking about optical media versus solid state media, is that, you know, does every game need to be released on the Blu-ray format? That's where I really think they shot themselves in the foot, because I know those discs have got to be more expensive than, lower density discs. I don't know by how much.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure production costs are marginally higher. I don't think it's that much of an issue, though.
No, you don't
Actually.
think so?
No, I really don't. I think they definitely have fallen in price to produce because the prices on Blu-ray are coming down, though they're still way too expensive.
I wonder if that has to do more with the lack of demand than anything else.
Yeah,
I really
I'm
think
in the
that's
same boat
that's
with
mostly
that.
what it is.
Yeah, I think their prices are falling just because they've you can go to a store, okay, for those of you, now some of you kids may have never heard of these, but there's these places you can go to buy music. RazörFist has been there a few times. And yeah. If you go to a record store, if you can find a record store, there's a few out here, and you go into the DVD section or the Blu-ray section, the music, section, and you'll see some of the same shit that's been on that shelf for months. And that's why the price is going down, because it sits there.
The good philosophy.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sainted, you've been awfully quiet about this subject. What are your
Maybe he's in
thoughts and
agreement
feelings
for
about
once.
it?
No, I totally agree with that because, to be, as RazörFist mentioned, all it's got is like a couple of extra features and more storage on a Blu-ray disc, and
Yeah.
I can see that being good for games, but for movies, not many people are going to be going out buying a.
Well, even so, dude, does every game need to be fucking huge?
Well, that's the thing. There is some benefits with it. I will say that. For example, if the games would work on the fucking PS3, the Fallout 3, Oblivion, those sorts of games with all the DLC on the disc already, then I can see the purpose of actually having a Blu-ray disc. But when it comes to actually getting, films and stuff like that, if you actually downloaded a Blu-ray film, a proper Blu-ray rip, they're nothing more than 6-7 gig?
I was going to say, actually, you can get them for even smaller than that because I've downloaded Blu-ray movies in .mkv format. For anybody who isn't familiar with that, it's a really good file type, which...
it's really compressed.
Yeah, it's compressed down a whole bunch, and it's not taxing on the image quality of it, which is really nice. If you have the VLC media player, which RazörFist, you're probably familiar with that.
VLC.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Yeah, okay.
VLC is fabulous.
VLC media player for everybody out there. Okay, I'm gonna plug that media player right now. If you don't have it, get it. It'll play anything and everything. And as a matter of fact, if it doesn't play it, it automatically will install codecs to make sure it can play it. But anyway, enough about that. I'm talking about a .mkv file. Okay, you can go and get a Blu-ray, which I know is for a fact because I've downloaded Blu-rays. You can get them. They're about between 5 to 700 megabytes. Yeah. Okay, and that's for a full feature-length movie. This isn't like a TV show or some little shit. That's a full movie. By comparison to the uncompressed version, which Sainted had mentioned, which is going to be about 12, 16 gigabytes or something. If you got the storage space, that's cool and all. But if you don't, like me, then fuck it. .mkv all the way.
Not even that much though.
Even the
games though. Some of the games are like 12 gig tops.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's what I was just about to bring up. Even the first-party Sony games where they're supposed to be making full use of the PS3 because dirty, stinky third-party developers don't know how to develop for our glorious Nippon machine. Even those games, okay, Uncharted 2. How long is it? About as long as any other, game. It's not like 50 hours long. It's as long as any other, set-piece simulator.
Yes, we have all this technology to do that.
Yeah, it's like they didn't use all that storage really. I mean, maybe they put some more features in. The multiplayer, I guess, is pretty robust on Uncharted 2, but it's not a particularly long game. It's not like they're giving you a 80-hour game instead of the average 20-hour experience or whatever.
Now, I'd be hard pressed to see any game in this generation fill up what a max capacity multi-layered Blu-ray can offer. Because it would be a trying task, I assure you. You could take something like
they
Lost...
could do it, but it would have all the brilliance of an Ed Wood movie.
Dude, the only way that they could realistically do it is if they took something like, since RazörFist mentioned Uncharted, if they took the Uncharted trilogy, with all the DLC, and threw it all onto a Blu-ray, they might fill it then.
Maybe.
And that's a maybe. That's fucking stretching
that would allow for buffer room still.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, and we're not even going into the entire fucking thing of compressing anything. We're just talking about them just copy, paste, drop that bullshit in and be fucking done with it. They're not tapping the potential at all, whatsoever. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, to round out this topic, because I know we spent a lot of time on it. The one thing I want to say, and Lupicio asks, what could be their next gimmick? Let's face it. We need to face this head on. For anybody in gaming right now, gimmicks are not going to save you.
Yep.
A quality product is going to save you, and I just hope it's not too late.
That man speaks words of truth.
Anyway, we got more mail here. We're just doing a great big 8-bit mail extravaganza. So you have your questions of any kind, drop them at the.
Because you know how Yellkaos likes the mails.
I know. I love it. I love it. And just in advance, when you're writing your letter, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, fuck you. Anyway.
Eventually, we need to get a P.O. box so we can get snail mail, too.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, but then by the time they're mad, it'll be fucking 6 months old by the time we get around to it.
Yeah, the sarin gas will have dissipated by then.
See?
Disappointment.
I know,
Wah,
I
wah.
know. But if you want to drop us a line at 123 Fuck You Plaza, Los Angeles, California 91003. Anyway,
I wish that were a place.
That's that's a Hate Bit West. That's headquarters right there. But anyway, we got another piece of mail. Comes from Raymond Ornowski. I was gonna pronounce it all fancy, but then I realized, oh wait, it's a Polish name. Oh well. Raymond has a question, and he says, "Yo guys."
Yo.
Hooty hoo.
He says, "Love the show, but I have a question." Wait, but?
Uh-oh.
What the hell does that mean? Ah, never mind. He says, "Love the show, but I have a question. You guys have discussed comics and things like that from time to time, so I was wondering what your opinions were on the various Marvel films that have been released recently. If you mean going back to right around the turn of the century, those Marvel films can suck a dick." RazörFist?
Well, I like the Daredevil director's cut. The newer ones, I think he's referring to the newer ones. The only ones in the newer ones I've seen are Captain America, which was awesome, and Thor, which was badass, and Avengers was fucking great. It was really, really good. I went and saw The Dark Knight yesterday, and
Get shot.
and yes, actually.
Oh, well,
I'm
glad you made it.
I'm currently recovering in hospice right now.
Oh,
I'm
Well, we're
on
too
glad
soon.
you're with us.
I'm
They
on
brought your headset. Everything is great.
Yeah, but no. So basically, the Avengers is everything that the Dark Knight Rises is not. Basically, it's fun and actually somewhat faithful to the comics and not insufferably pretentious. But at the same time, good and dramatic at the same time. So
I was gonna say, a lot of people have compared them, saying that the Avengers is, a really awesome movie. The Dark Knight Rises is a really awesome film.
See, I
And-
disagree. The Dark Knight Rises is insufferable. It is really, really. It collapses under the weight of its own fucking pretense.
Is
And
it
if
like
that-
The Godfather Part 3?
No, no, it's not that bad. But,
Is it not that heavy?
No, it's like
Aw.
it's kind of like they looked at the Dark Knight and they tried to do it again, and then they were like, they got less talented actors to fill the roles that people like Heath Ledger and Aaron Eckhart filled in the last film, and it
Yeah,
just,
they got the kid from Third Rock from the Sun. Ooh.
and it just didn't work because Anne Hathaway, I'm sorry, you are not Heath Ledger and you're not Michelle Pfeiffer. And she, God bless her, she tries to steal every scene she's in, but she falls flat in her face every single time. And it's painful to watch after a while because it's like
Yeah,
they're
'cause that
shoving
face is getting flatter and flatter all the time.
her and longer. But yeah, they keep they keep shoving her down your throat because I think the writer suspected they didn't have much to sell you on, and he was correct. But yeah, that I wasn't a big fan of it. But anyways, yeah, that's my feeling on the most recent Marvel movies. I thought most of them were pretty good, and Avengers was really good.
Well, I'll
Well,
chime.
I have a sort of a contrarian position. All the Spider-Man movies as of late can suck my ass. Most of the Punisher movies as of late can suck my ass, even though I think the one
Whoa! Warzone is awesome, and I will punch you in the cunt if you say
I
otherwise.
wasn't talking about Warzone. That's not a movie.
That's a great movie. That was like a 1986 Stallone movie with the Punisher in it, is what it is.
Sure, but the funny thing is how everyone kind of bitched and complained that it just didn't have the success they expected. It's like, it's the Punisher.
Yeah, it's not that big of a character. It should have been huge.
The only
I
guy
agree.
that can go around and just kill people in a movie has to have an Austrian accent. You didn't know that?
Oh, such a good movie, though. I really enjoyed
I
Punisher.
I agree. I thought it was actually pretty decent, but it wasn't a success, and therefore it gets shit all over. But Marvel movies are
Boring.
hit or miss, in recent years at best. However, The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. Don't ever say anything bad about that movie because Lewis will
Why
bite your
not?
face.
Why not?
Yeah.
Lewis Gossett Jr. will bite your face.
Oh.
I can't back that up. I'm just
Dolph
saying.
Lundgren can suck a dick. I never liked him.
Well,
There we go.
You don't
I'm pretty
like
sure-
Showdown at Little Tokyo?
I have a feeling he sucked Brigitte Nielsen's dick, but that's another story for another time.
Uh-oh.
He just sucks sausage
No,
no matter what, so there we go.
Well, apparently, according to Brandon Lee, he's got the biggest crank he's ever seen on a man.
Oh,
Hey.
God.
You know that movie's totally true because Master Tatsu was in it.
It's true.
It is, absolutely.
Ninja
Absolutely. Yeah, because a dead man with white paint on his face said it. It must be true.
Oh, God.
Alpha Omega, what do you got to say about the Marvel movies, Bang?
The Marvel movies, let's see. Like X-Men 1, like X-Men 2, don't like the third one. Like Spider-Man 1, like Spider-Man 2, don't like the third one. Thor was really good. Captain America, despite the fact I don't really like the character, the movie was pretty damn good. The Avengers was fucking amazing. I actually cheered. I was very into that movie. Like, I was giddy. I looked at everybody else that was with me in the theater, and they were just, like, watching it. I was like, how are you just not fucking excited? Fuck all of you. It's a really good movie. And you want to know what makes it really good? They made they did the Hulk justice. There you go, right there. Reason enough to fucking go watch it. They knew what to do with the Hulk. He goes around, he kills shit. Let's see. Black Widow, her ass. There you go. That's another reason to go watch it. Let's see. Outside.
Certainly not her acting.
Oh, what's up?
Reasons to see this movie.
Dude, I'm sorry, but anytime that she showed up, I was just, I have absolutely no shame. I was just like, homing in right on each fucking cheek. I was just like, dude.
Rock hard, weren't you?
She would not last 5 fucking seconds, and I would seriously be in prison for murder. But it'd be real fun murder, I guess.
Dude,
but anyway,
that murder, the police would let you ride in the front seat.
they'd be like, high five, dude. It's all right. You know, you actually get the luxury.
Take me away. I killed her with my dick.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, look, it's still attached and everything. Man, the coroner is gonna have a fucking field day with this. Might have to calm him down though. Sedatives.
Might have to call in the coroner. Violence.
Yeah. I'll say, dude, for that murder, if they put you on trial, you could call the judge by his first name, man. That'd be like epic.
I mean, genuinely, Marvel does a bang-up job with all of their movies. They really, really do. I'm truthfully looking forward to what DC is going to be popping out next. I haven't seen the new Batman movie. I know RazörFist has shared his thoughts that he wasn't very happy with it. I've heard either people really like it or they're just like meh, and that's pretty much what I've gotten from everybody. I have to go check it out because I'm a huge Batman fan. So I'm hoping for the best. I also am hoping for the best new Superman movie because that's also Christopher Nolan. And what the hell's the name of the dude who did Watchmen and 300? Fuck, I forgot his name now. Oh my God! Brain fucking farts.
No, Zack Snyder. Sorry.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan. Okay, that right there is a very good combo team because I really like.
That is more pretentiousness than you can handle.
Dude, come on, Watchmen and 300 are fucking amazing.
Oh
man.
yeah, the Wunderkind that gave us Sucker Punch. What a brilliant film that was.
Hey, sometimes we trip and fuck up, even when the trailers look absolutely phenomenal and you go see it and you're like, what happened? LOL. Money back, please? No, I can't. K-bye. But
ooh, refund.
Yeah, it's like no refund. K, thanks, go bye. But it's, I'm optimistic about this because the thing is, Superman Returns was fucking garbage. Listen to me. Superman can't fight fucking humans. He can't fight humans. It's not interesting. It's like the Hulk fucking fighting humans. It's just boring. So anyway, but yes, back on the actual topic, Marvel movies, pretty fucking cool. I just had to go on a tangent about DC stuff too. Really looking forward to Justice League movie. Anyway, saying it, Yellkaos, help!
I was just going to say, I didn't write this joke, but some comedian I remember said that Superman Returns should have been called Superman Returns Gay.
Oh, man.
Sainted Magnus, do you have anything else to add?
Right. As far as Marvel films go, similar sort of lineup. Didn't like many of the early stuff. The only ones I did like was X-Men and Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2 and X-Men 2 were okay. 3s were shit. Going to recent, I've seen the Avengers, enjoyed it. Didn't like the new Hulk. I've not seen Captain America yet, although I do need to actually get down and watch that. DC side, just mostly the Batman films. I'm gonna still say The Dark Knight is one of the best films ever released. And that's me.
I'll call it one of the best movies ever released, but I won't call it one of the best films.
No, I'll call Batman '89 and Batman Returns some of the best films ever released, but I
Oh,
won't
absolutely.
call Dark Knight or Batman Begins because they're very of the time. I think we're gonna look back and those films are gonna seem a lot more dated. Even
Very much so. Well, you ever notice that and I noticed this when I watched these movies still back, Batman '89 and Batman Returns feel kind of timeless.
They are
Because it could be modern, it could be, because everything kind of has like they don't. I think the way that they best show it is everyone's wearing a lot of black and they don't show you a lot of cars.
Yeah, well, and they kind of have like '40s cars running around in the modern day,
which is not uncommon. You'll be out in the street and you'll see like one.
Well,
Which,
there's
by
a
the way,
really
if you're a
adapting
fan
the
of
comic.
Batman the Animated Series, and who with a functional penis is not,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I swear,
then-
if anybody fucking comments and says you do not like Batman animated series, I will fuck every family member that you have living and assure you 100% you will be the only fucking relative that they will see alive. You just don't say nothing bad about it. Or
My
Batman
name is
Beyond.
Alpha
bad-
Vegas, and
bad
I've come
things
from
can you say
Pennsylvania
about
to have
it?
sex with your family.
Yeah, it's all sorts of fucking angry fuck time for me, I
bad
guess.
thing could you say?
I will rape your ancestors.
Wait, what's
I'm
up,
just saying,
Tim?
what bad things could you say about it? Because I'm
I
very
don't know,
hard.
man. If
I'm very.
somebody'd have to conjure up some silly bullshit.
but what I was saying was on that subject was a lot of what Batman the Animated Series works because it's kind of you can't really tell what time it takes place.
You can't
It's
nail it down, yeah.
It's kind of 1940s. It's kind of whatever. That's all from Batman '89. That's all from Batman Returns.
Mhm.
So that's you
Yeah.
got if you like the animated series, you have to defer to those Burton films because they're great.
Oh yeah, and people can say what they want about Tim Burton, even if he just plain got lucky. The point is, he got lucky. He made some fine films. I don't understand
He
why
still
everyone
does.
always defer to Jack Nicholson for Joker questions. Like, he was just the actor who played the character.
He wasn't necessarily
If
the
you really
best
wanna
Joker,
fight-
though, was he?
He was
He was good.
He's
Don't get me
great.
wrong.
Oh no, he was beyond good, dude. Think
He
about
was
it like
great.
this.
I'm gonna
Jack
say this right now. I want to say this right now. Heath Ledger gets way too much credit for having played the Joker. He did a fine job, but let's face it, it was a very single-faceted character in The Dark Knight. He's a crazy,
and it was written so well. Like, the character was written so well. It was almost on autopilot to begin with, because they didn't share anything about his origin, so he didn't have that burden to deal with. He didn't have to play someone who had this tragic, background or whatever, because he didn't have a background, and so he had the benefit of just being this scene stealer every single time he was on screen because he didn't have anything weighing him down as an actor.
Exactly.
So it was like, okay, I'll just run in.
I was gonna say, but also to be fair, we're comparing two completely different styles of Jokers too.
Yeah.
I mean, two completely, because Jack Nicholson plays the I'm crazy out of my fucking mind, still murderous, but crazy out of my fucking mind, wacky style
Well,
Joker, which is
Don't
more
forget
akin
the
to.
Grand Prime Boss angle made it so much deeper too.
Well, yeah, I mean that right there. Well, that's also attributed to some of the quote unquote origin stories of the Joker from the Batman comics and everything.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
Heath Ledger's Joker was their adaptation of if we were going to try to make this guy a real life character, what would we make him? And just came up with a really fucked up individual that just uses it. Okay.
Everything has to play like the terrorist angle now.
That's true.
That is just a sign of our times that, if he's going to be bad, he has to blow up a hospital, or he has to, he has to be unpredictable, or, he has to get on the news and scare the people. It's like, I miss good old-fashioned supervillainy. Blow up a bridge or something.
Rob a bank.
Rob a bank, it's just something like that. But, I agree with RazörFist that the Batman Begins and the Dark Knight, I don't even know how we're talking about this, but this is a lot of fun. They think they will appear quite dated. I think even Batman and Robin will not appear as dated because it's just so outlandish.
Well, at least Batman and Robin and at least Batman Forever, they kind of exist in this fantasy universe. They're kind of, you
Yeah,
know,
very much so.
they,
Where
they're
technology
not
is
really
so
in the real world.
unbelievable, but yet, it is amazing just how overblown everything is without being that overblown. Like,
And all the shots, and this is something I've always hated by the Dark Knight, the shots in the daytime. Where's the fantasy of Gotham City? Gotham City is nighttime, always. Always. Why the daytime scenes, Chris Nolan? Why? Why is most of the film in the daytime?
Why
I
is
don't
everything so gray? It's like we're in London.
I think he's just trying to give us a glimpse of what they're like during the day. Trying to say, well, this is what Harvey Dent's all about.
At the same time, it sort of tries to maybe portray sort of a bleak feeling.
Yeah.
Things are very depressing in Gotham City. And
I think another reason why it would be shot during the day, though, is think about it, there's a lot of things that go in a non-24-hour city. Okay, there's a lot of things that go on only during the day. So some events, whenever they culminate and they just explode, and all havoc fucking starts to be wreaked. Well, having that happen, like, I don't know, at 2 o'clock in the morning when everybody's asleep isn't nearly as fulfilling as when everybody is on their lunch break.
But that's the whole point. If it were Tim Burton, that's the whole point I'm trying to make. If it were Tim Burton, he wouldn't care. He'd have a bank open at 12 o'clock at night and it'd be filled with people because it's a comic book movie and it doesn't need to be realistic.
Okay, that right there, okay, that's a fair point. The only counter argument that I can make to it is that this trilogy is supposed to be adapting the comic books in as realistic as it can be. Not saying that it's going to be like, oh my god, this is obviously, possible, but this is supposed to be like their most realistic adaptation they can possibly go for, and that's the only reason I can try to conjure up and be like, that's the reason right there.
Yeah, I prefer Batman. I think a lot of people who enjoy the Burton trilogy, like me, or not trilogy, but the two Burton movies, they enjoy Batman Begins more than the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Returns. And I think that's because the Batman Begins had more art design and it was a little bit more like Blade Runner-ish. It was a little more fantasy. And after that, it turned into just a big, okay, Chris Nolan's going to make Heat again, but now it's going to be a guy with a cape and bat ears on. That's basically what he did.
Yeah, because Pacino was busy, apparently.
He was. But anyways, let's continue on. We got
Anyway, so
comic
Batman.
Books, fuck yeah.
Yeah, comic books, fuck yeah. Batman, and so on.
Daredevil. Sorry.
Daredevil!
Nightwing! I have to throw, man.
Now,
Sue Storm's invisible cleavage.
ooh, and her invisible camel toe. Anyway. Everyone's getting all hot and bothered and excited. Let's move on, huh? Thank you for contributing to the colostomy bag. If you have questions, comments, concerns, anything, drop us a line at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com or at the Facebook page, or we've been through this. Anyway, guess what? Big fucking news on the Nintendo front. Apparently, for you dumb fucks like me who own a Nintendo 3DS and are planning to buy New Super Mario Bros. 2, they are going to give you double the Club Nintendo points if you buy it digitally, even though it's the same price as it is physically. So now, what a lot of people would immediately assume is, they're trying to make up for you not having physical content. Alpha Omegason and myself have a totally different fucking conspiracy theory, and Alpha's gonna lead you in because this is so apparent and no one's paying attention to what's actually going on here. Alpha?
All right, the first thing I want to go with, and I'm going to quote a character I like from a TV show real quick. If you go into this thinking, optimistically that they're trying to compensate you for not having a physical copy of the game, and you're just like, oh boy, they're just so great of people, I will immediately cut you off and say, false. And that's the way Troop, by the way. See, that's not what they're trying to do. In fact, here's what they're trying to do. They're grooming you. for a digital-only world. Now, you may say, well, that sounds like, conspiracy theory and your aluminum hat and you're worried about them listening to you through your fucking clocks and whatnot. And that's all fine and good, and you can think that, but there's been a lot of times where this shit does come true, and let's be realistic. The all digital age is coming, and they are slowly grooming us. I mean, look, we're getting digital releases more and more often. We're getting full retail copies that are just, showing up as digital-only games. And this right here is going to be a simultaneous release. They're both going to show up the same exact day. They're going to show up for the same exact amount. The only difference being one game you can own forever and ever and ever, and it's not going to be tied to any handheld or any fucking account or anything like that. And the other one, well, it's going to be digital only, and you get more coins for it. People love Club Nintendo stuff because it's free shit. Well, sort of free shit. You have to spend money, obviously, to get that free shit, quote unquote. But still, yes. And I'm pretty sure I'm hopefully not alone in this. I know Yellkaos shares my sentiments of they're grooming us.
Absolutely, because they're grooming us. Because here's something. Now, I'm talking to all the Club Nintendo members. I'm a member of Club Nintendo, and apparently, and I don't know this for certain because I wasn't when I was a kid, but I heard it used to be like, fun and rewarding, but now it's kind of like getting slapped in the mouth with, a plumber's penis.
Covered in whiskey.
Absolutely. Well, I should probably be covered in, I don't know, what's an Italian liqueur? Drano. Wait a minute.
That's awful. Wait. Sure no one will like that.
Dude, that's like a whole new, that's a whole new spin on the whole Mario Brothers, you clog 'em, we clear 'em thing.
I know, right?
Jesus Christ. Is that how it's getting done? All right, now I understand. That's probably why there's more hair in the drain than when they arrived. Anyway, if you'll notice that the physical rewards and prizes on Club Nintendo are diminishing, and they're being pared away at an unbelievable rate, to where everything is just, you get something free through the virtual consoles. Like, really? You're gonna award me for buying your new thing for I get to play again that product you released 25 fucking years ago?
Yeah.
I get it wrong.
And you're gonna give me the game that's not selling that well in digital format? Wait a minute. Wait. You're having a clearance sale for something that I'm at a loss here. So, but what's going on here is, they're going to try and push you over. See, there's all this bullshit that, when you watch game reviewers on the internet, they say things. What? What's that?
Who does that?
Me. I'm fucking stupid. And you watch these guys and they say, Nintendo doesn't want to upset their retail partners. Nintendo wants to fuck the retail in the ass. They want all of it. All three companies want all the action for their shit. They're sick and tired of the fucking retail assholes being in the way. And now, in order to do that, they're going to wage war on us.
They've been waging war on us since DLC was brought
They've been doing it for some time. And, if it's people like the Hate Bit podcast who inform you of things like this, that way you're not, it's going to happen, I guess. But, I'm going to go so far as to say it doesn't have to be this way. But if you keep handing over, like we talked about in recent episodes, how the Snickers bar used to be really big. Yeah. And now for the exact same price, it's gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. Why? Because you didn't fucking say anything. And now Nintendo knows that they've got a loyal fan base who are ultimately going to be the ones that save their ass in the, the coming storm. And they're going to go a different route and say, no, you guys are here. We're going to fuck you while you're still here. That's my take on this whole situation. They're setting up, this thing that I've always described as a scary and dystopian thing. They're doing it with a great big plumber's smile on their face.
Why do you think
they're doing it? They're doing it. It's kind of like being raped by a clown. It's funny, but not really. If you really look. So that's the way I'm looking at this. They are doing it. They are fucking you with a smile on their face, in order to put a smile on your face. That's exactly how we got to where we are.
Yes.
RazörFist, how do you feel?
It just seems like more whoring the digital distribution to me is how it feels. Yep. So that's what it feels like to me.
I'm sorry,
what?
Does it hurt?
Yes.
Because it hurts. It hurts just a little. It's like, oh.
I'm getting tired of it because look, physical media. Yes, it's clearly going the way of the white buffalo, but it's at the same time it's something that is physical that they can have all the fine print they want at the bottom. Oh, you don't really own this game. Oh, this is just licensed to you. It's like a long-term rental. They can write all the, legalese in the margins they want. At the end of the day, you own a physical copy, and if you stick it in your console, it's going to work. You know what I mean? And digital any day they want.
Don't even do that.
Yeah, digital any day they want. They can just say, well, that's not yours anymore.
Yep.
It was a nice rental period, but it's over now. Sorry, buddy.
Think about that. Something that you thought you bought and you got it, and then someone came and just took it away. Think about that. Think of all the games in your house. Because in my house, I got plenty of games. You come into my house and you're going to take one of my games, you may have come in here on your feet. You're leaving it in a fucking bag.
Exactly.
Several
But
bags.
there's one.
Depending on how much time we
There's
have.
one drastic flaw in Nintendo's plan, right?
Well, there's many drastic flaws, but what's the one
but the
you're
one I'm
talking
talking about is the fact that if you've gone out and you've been this greedy bastard that's gone out and bought Super Mario Land 2 or whatever it's fucking called on the 3DS, and your 3DS decides to go, I don't want to work anymore. You have to fork out another, 170 quid for another fucking copy of the game and a new console.
Well, not only that, but even, they say, well, it's tied to your thing. And
It's tethered to the console, it's not tethered to your account.
It's tethered to the console, and you say, well, if you link it to your Club Nintendo account, it's like, wait a minute. So in order for me to have something that is mine, I have to be spied on by Nintendo?
Pretty much.
That, this is...
Once again, it's digital distribution. Digital distribution is not about convenience. It's not about the high cost of producing digital media, because God knows it costs a couple quarters to press a disc.
Yeah.
But it is, at the end of the day, about removing rights from consumers. It is not the future, and the idea, the concept that it is the wave of the future is a flagrant deception by the industry to convince you to part your ass cheeks with a smile, is what it is.
Oh yeah, this is what's commonly referred to as a fallacy. Just because something is one way.
Emphasis on fallacy.
I was waiting for that to come along.
One way doesn't immediately make it the other way. There are alternatives. We would not think about this for a second. There are still bands. Okay, I'm talking about music now. Do they still have music?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes they have music. Okay.
No, I think
they have music. There's bands that are still pressing vinyl.
Yeah.
Something that's supposedly, according to the internet, obsolete. Whereas I know there are black metal bands love vinyl.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go to Europe. If you want to see people that love vinyl, go to Europe. That's all they fucking want there. They appreciate the shit out of it. And you want to know what? It lasts longer than, anything. Mm-hmm. Assuming you don't leave it by a fucking heater, like on that one episode of Married with Children.
I would really love to get a gathering together. All the 8-bit guys, we're going to get together, and just for Nintendo's sake, we're going to go to Redmond, Washington, and we're going to get as many... I would love to get like 100,000 people and just show up at the front door of Nintendo America and with a megaphone and say, hey, we're not buying your game.
And that's it, and then just walk away. We're like, all right, later.
Hey, it'd be like... Wait a minute. And it was like, you just lost 100,000 sales.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's 100,000 permanent sales, too.
I know, but everybody's a bunch of fucking pussies anyway, so what do they care? They're just going to buy it. Why? Because there's nothing else to do. No one stands up for themselves anymore, so I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Nobody cares for the woods anymore. Thank you, Treebeard. Anyways, let's continue.
Nobody knows the troubles that I've seen. This sorrow.
Continuing on.
Anyway, so, I'll bet you this has something to do with something really stupid Reggie Fils-Aime said. He's a stupid asshole if I didn't mention. And, pretty soon, I guess, Club Nintendo, they're going to offer the custom Wii Fit balance board RGI. So keep an eye out for that. It's especially good for relatives of yours that weigh about 7,000 or 8,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's good for sea mammals and
Yeah, you don't believe this, but it's actually a North American exclusive. Yeah, they got no use for this in Japan. So
And it's also good for propping up your car when you need to go and
they
get an
also
oil
use-
change done manually.
No, they also use it to distribute and weigh out whale bacon. Anyway, and whale oil lamps. It's very important.
whale oil lamps.
Yeah. So anyway, you know what? We're going to move into our next topic here, and you guys have been asking us to talk about this for a while, so we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're bringing it right to you. We're coming for you, sucker. Let me tell you something. Monday Night Raw from the WWE, their 1,000th episode is coming up, and oh my God, 1,000 episodes of Monday Night Raw. You know what? I can't even set the stage properly. You know who's going to take us there? RazörFist is going to take us there. RazörFist, take us there.
I'm going to go to sleep.
Dude, take us there on a sleigh. I want to be on a sleigh. We're on a sleigh. Say it.
Santa's Sleigh, starring Bill Goldberg. Yeah.
So long as he doesn't get on the microphone, I'm all right.
Don't let him
Yeah.
start either.
Who's next? What's next is an acting class, Bill Goldberg.
Oh, I say triple zing. 1, 2, 3.
But no, anyways, so I was just thinking, because it's the 1,000th episode of Raw, and because we've been getting so many requests to talk about wrestling, we should itemize our favorite periods in professional wrestling, our favorite era, if you will. There have been lots of eras throughout WWE. For those who aren't aware, there's of course the Hogan era. There is, of course, from like mid 80s to the early 90s, and then of course it moved on into what's called the New Generation era from about 94 to 96 or 97. That was like all Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and Razor Ramon and Diesel and all that fun stuff. And then you had the Attitude Era from 97 to about 2001. And then you had something called the Ruthless Aggression Era. I call the Crippling Boredom Era from about 2002 to 2004. And then you have the Cena Era, which I call the I don't watch this shit era. So that would be about 2005 to the present.
I'm never buying Stridex pads again thanks to this shit.
Oh, wait, you know what? You could also call the Cena era the adult males don't watch the show era.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
And if anybody wants to go and argue that, well, then here's my little counter for you. Anytime that you hear Cena chants going on in the arena, I want you to use your ears, press them up to your TV, and listen real closely. Because when you hear, "Let's go Cena," and then the other chant of "Cena sucks," it's high-pitched and whiny every time you hear "Let's go Cena," and there's lots of bass when you hear "Cena sucks," and that's for a reason. Anybody who hit puberty won't like him, and anybody with common sense sure as fuck won't like him. Soccer moms don't count.
I just can't believe that anybody's still excited about a white rapper.
Oh no, he stopped that gimmick. He's not the master of thugonomics because he's
But
a good guy and
remember
does
when
the
he came on
Make-A-Wish
the scene.
Foundation.
Well, I remember when he came on the scene, and like that was passe then.
Yeah, and I don't understand why it's, and I don't even think it's just because they're older. I think it's just because when you're older, you have a more developed prefrontal cortex. You know what I mean? And your brain is actually complete at that
Then
point.
what's Vince McMahon's excuse?
Exactly.
He's more old and developed than any of us, and you figure he would have picked up on it. But I think that people who come from Connecticut are just naturally, culturally brain damaged and don't seem to understand what the plebeians like.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? You got
I
two
think in
kids.
Vince McMahon's case, it's just kind of the same reason Shawn Michaels got so over around 1996. I think it has something to do with the fact that Cena blows him dawn to dusk. It has something to do with that.
Well, and the other guy in the organization is fucking his daughter, so I guess that's kind of...
Yeah, and they work out together. So
wait,
go
here
figure.
I have to chime in with something. The Marine, starring John Cena. Something. That's my joke. The end. There you go. So, because I don't have to have a witty punchline with that. Just the fucking mere utterance of that fucking movie
John
alone
Cena
is a joke.
movie, ha ha ha.
Yeah, it's just like John Cena acting, lol, lol, lol.
Well,
Yeah.
We can do the same thing with Triple
let's broaden
H.
that statement a bit. Wrestlers acting, ha ha ha.
I was gonna say, hey,
no,
Stone Cold and The Rock both do a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I beg to differ.
Hey, and Hulk Hogan was awesome in Rocky. I mean, come on, guys. Rocky. He was Thunder Lips.
Hey, don't forget about Suburban Commando, man.
Suburban Commando, dude.
Oh, what about that game that he was on this 3DO? Jesus, what was that called?
You know what, Thunder in
Huh?
Paradise?
That's the one.
Wait, I thought that was a
Thunder in
movie
Paradise
on.
was CDI.
I thought that was
That may
a
have
TNT movie.
That was a show. It was,
It was a
what
show,
was.
and then he got a game.
Yeah, they made a game based on the
Dude,
show Philips
I
CDI.
thought that shit was a movie. I've
was a
never seen
great
it
show.
before.
No,
That
there was a movie, and then they took the movie and cut it into 3 parts, made that the first 3 episodes of the series, and then they went for, I think, a season.
Holy fuck. Okay, well,
Yeah.
how about this? All right, here. Speaking of Hulk Hogan, somebody sent me this funny picture. It was FYE. For anybody who's not familiar with FYE, they sell movies and CDs and shit like that. But anyway, they had a big fucking stack, I'm talking collecting dust, of Hogan Knows Best every single season on DVD for $2.99 brand new, and could not sell any of them. And I was
You saw
fucking
it once.
happy.
What do you see it again for?
But let's make no mistake now as we move back into the discussion topic.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
That-
the topic,
that
yes.
back in the day, regardless of how big a cockbag Hogan is backstage or whatever, his stupid reality show or his hot daughter that there's a very creepy relationship going on with,
Tell me about it.
that whole thing notwithstanding, was there any kid on the planet in 1987 that didn't think Hulk Hogan was the shit? Anyone?
I have one thing to add to that right now. And anybody can sit there and be like, I'm going to make fun of you. And I will simply say this. You didn't grow up then. You won't get it. I was a fucking Hulkster when I was little.
You sound like such an old man when you say that,
Dude,
by the way.
I don't give a fuck. Fuck everybody. I'll fucking whip out my dick and start fucking taking names. So.
He's going to write it with his dick.
No.
Eric Torres.
Here's okay. There was a wrestler by the name of Yokozuna.
Oh my
okay,
god,
yeah.
Yokozuna was a bad motherfucker. He was just a big, massive motherfucker. Okay, and he had this move. It was the bonsai drop, and he would just jump on the ropes and he'd come crashing down on you. And he's a big motherfucker. He was what, 400 or 500 pounds?
He was huge.
When he
500,
died, when he
600.
died, they said he was about 732 pounds. when he
Okay,
died.
well, put it this way. Okay, he's a fucking car that can breathe.
he's
So
a car
anyway,
with toes.
there was this certain point that there was a little angle going on, and I was a little ass kid when this happened. I'm like single digits in age. I thought Yokozuna killed Hulk Hogan. Legitimately, I thought this. Being a little kid watching the show, I fucking cried my eyes out because Hulk Hogan meant so much to me when I was little. He was a fucking icon to people, man. And like other little kids, when I went to school, were like worried. Like we sat there playing with toys at school, talking about, I hope Hulk Hogan's okay.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. Nowadays, no, you don't hear shit like that at all.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, the angle with Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, where Ric Flair had broken his leg with like a chair, and everybody hated Ric Flair. They were like, "Oh my God, Ric Flair! He's the guy who broke Hulk Hogan's leg."
And people hated him in real life, like fuck you, die.
Oh yeah, seriously, because this was back before wrestling was like, kids. People didn't know it was fake back then, so it was like at least not little kids at any rate.
Yeah, kids. Well, because parents didn't tell them that.
Yeah, so it was
I
like,
knew it was
oh
fake
my
because
God.
my dad told me it was fake, and then when I figured out it was fake, I'm like, "Oh, this is fun."
Yeah.
He's
They won't really
he's
die.
not really getting hurt. I'm not so emotionally involved anymore. I like this.
I know exactly. But I mean, I remember that Hulk Hogan was the shit, and then people like Ultimate Warrior came along, and just there were awesome characters back then. So, anyways, let's get back to topic. What is your favorite era? Let's throw it to Alpha. What is your favorite era of WWE?
Hands down, the Attitude Era. I had no questions asked. It was, oh man. Okay, with the exception of the 80s, the Attitude Era brought wrestling to the mainstream and put it out there for the masses to consume, and it was fucking edgy. You didn't know what was going to happen next. I mean, people who didn't give a fuck about wrestling were talking about it. You know, I would go to school. I had my Austin 316 shirt on and everything. I had a Rock shirt. I had several Undertaker shirts. My fucking family got every pay-per-view. It was the time to really be into it. And it was fucking cool as hell. They had, you know, okay, you had DX, you had The Rock, you had Stone Cold, you had The Undertaker. Let's see.
What was so great about that was the writers actually paid attention to everyone in the company.
Yeah,
So
they
like
didn't
Al
leave fucking
Snow,
people hanging.
Al Snow and D'Lo Brown would have a great feud going on at the same time. So the early matches in the card you still cared about.
Yeah,
You know,
and the thing is, they're great talent. Like, if anybody right now is like Al Snow, and you're kind of like, you know, scoffing at that, okay, I will tell you this: go watch Al Snow in any ECW match, any. There's one in particular.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there's a couple in particular, but his very last fucking the very last match that he had at ECW was one of the best I had ever seen. The dude was just a fucking machine and put on a phenomenal show. And you know what? They did give a shit about the wrestlers. They were just like, yeah, you're not a fucking just a jobber to come out and job to whatever guy we're currently trying to push right now. No, you're a fucking wrestler. You're earning your paycheck and you're trying to, you know, be somebody.
Yeah, but case in point, okay, let's book an average episode of Raw from the Attitude Era. You'd open up with a match with someone like the Hardy Boys very early on in their career. You know, like 90, let's say it's 99. It's the Hardy Boys and Michael Hayes. Who are they going to fight? Well, they're in a feud with The Brood, right?
Yep.
The Brood is Edge, Christian, and Gangrel. All these guys have a storyline. And none of them are above the mid-card at this point.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And they had amazing matches, too.
Yeah, then you move into what? D'Lo Brown and Al Snow are feuding. I know they were feuding for the European title for a while. So, okay, it's Al Snow and D'Lo Brown, and they've got a fully fleshed out storyline. Then it's Big Show versus, you know what I mean? Like, it was just one person after another. Nobody had nothing to do. It was never like with Raw nowadays where you turn it on and it's like, oh, Jack Thompson is fighting Steve Johnson.
Yeah, and you know what? They actually had fucking personalities, and they also allowed the wrestlers back then, mind you. Nowadays, it's very fucking different. But back then, you were allowed to ad-lib and everything. You were allowed to go out there and bust out your own shit on mic, you know, develop your own character. Granted, you had a storyline you had to stick with, but they gave you leeway. Like, yeah, okay, here's the allotted amount of time that you have out there to talk. You have 3 minutes, okay? Just remember when you go out there, at this point in time, so-and-so is going to come out and cut you off. Okay, so they could develop their own characters. Nowadays, no, memorize that stick. This is exactly who you are. And these pansy-ass fucking PG writing fucking faggot-ass pieces of shit that write for them now ruin all of those poor motherfuckers' careers simply by just putting them into a fucking corner and never letting them out.
And never letting them do anything. It's so
one thing I think is getting glanced over about, I just want to say this quickly about the Attitude Era before I forget to say this. The Attitude Era was really the beginning of during the, you know, when they would you know, do a promo on the big Raw stage. This was the era that made every fucking wrestler think that they were De Niro, because they would all squint their eyes and point their finger when they would talk. And now everybody does that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, and then they go from there. So I just want to. So that's one detriment.
Yeah,
that I
it's
think
like everybody tried to take Stone Cold Steve Austin's formula and use it, and it doesn't work for anyone but Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You need to have a bald head and a mustache first and foremost.
You got to have raw charisma and in-ring talent. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, what a lot of people don't know is in 1997, I mean, a lot of people know this, that he broke his neck. And it was a legit injury and major. Owen Hart dropped him right on his head in a tombstone piledriver and almost ended his career. Yep. So, but then he became the top guy in the company in late 1997. He took over for Shawn Michaels, much to Shawn Michaels' chagrin. So from 98 to about, gosh, when did he retire full-time? 2003?
It was early to mid-2000s. I forget the exact year.
He was wrestling hurt. And I mean seriously hurt. He had constant neck surgery, constant pain, couldn't feel his fingers, couldn't feel his arms. I mean, this guy, he was carrying the whole company on his back, and he was hurt. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Hands down, right now, I'll tell everybody on the podcast, everybody listening at home, my all-time favorite wrestler ever is Stone Cold. I can back that up for a lot of reasons. One, the dude can actually wrestle. I'm not talking like, oh, well, I can do my couple gimmick moves and then I end the match. No, he can actually do submission style wrestling. He could do some shit off like the mid, the mid rope. He's not a high flyer or anything.
Well, he used to be, and that's what the point I'm trying to make. Even though he was hurt, he was still putting on amazing main event matches with people like Undertaker and Rock and, Triple H and all these people. I mean, he made Triple H look like $1 million at a time when the fans couldn't give less than 2 fucks about Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, anyways. But we should probably move around. What about Sainted? What is your favorite era of WWE or of wrestling in general?
Well, I started watching it in the New Generation era, so like late '93. I started watching it.
Nice.
So I got to see some late Warrior matches. I got some Shawn Michaels matches, and then I got when Bret Hart decided to fuck off to WCW. I think it was he pissed off to. I kind of took a break for 2 years until about 1998. Sorry, because it was just after my mother had passed away, so I wanted something to watch, so I put that on, and me and my dad used to watch that for hours on end, and I'd say more for nostalgia. Yeah, I'm using that word. I'd say the Attitude Era is more my favourite because I watched quite a lot of it up until the Invasion storyline started coming in.
The Invasion sucks so
They
bad.
fucked that up. The most potential right there, they ran that into the dirt fast. So fucking fast. It was just like, good job.
That's when I decided to say, right, that's it. Curtain call for me. I'm off.
Dude, you know what? Right there. A missed opportunity. But I mean, that aside, one of the reasons why the Attitude Era also, I wish I would have brought this up earlier, but just saying this now. Another reason why it was so great was this was during the Monday Night Wars. They were escalating to levels that people had never seen before, and it was exciting to tune in. Both shows were premiering at the same exact time. You didn't know who was going to show up on whose show. You didn't know what was going to happen. They're taping their shit. This show's live. It was fucking chaos.
Oh.
And you want to know who won in the end? The fans. And they were pushing each other to the limits and then some. And it was just it was fucking awesome. And now you got WWE and you got Impact Wrestling, and that's it.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear Impact, all I can think of is constipation.
Or dental work.
Or changing tires.
You got a good point there, though. I mean, it's not just WWE, but the fact that WCW was so good. I mean, there was a period in late 99, early 2000, when I started not really caring for the Attitude Era, for WWE at the time, because it was a lot of Triple H and he wasn't losing a lot, and it was getting really boring to watch. So I flipped it on over to Thunder and to Nitro. And for a very brief while there, Nitro was better than Raw, and I was much more interested in watching that. But that's the thing, you had the option, because there were two strong companies. Even WCW on its worst day is so much better than TNA today.
Yeah.
And so it was always worthy competition. So if you
TNA, it feels like USWA with a slightly bigger budget.
I will say this about it, and me and my brother are both actually we DVR the show every single week now for this. Their storylines are fucking god awful garbage. I mean, hot steaming fucking garbage. But I'll say this: their matches are absolutely fucking ace. They put on some incredible
talent
matches
over there. But so Sainted, you would say the Attitude.
I'd say the Attitude Era.
Who was your favorite wrestler around then, man?
I kind of had three. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Well, which fucking 13 or 14-year-old lad didn't like fucking Stone Cold because he was just badass with a whole new level.
Yeah. And that's the bottom line.
Exactly.
Because Stone Cold said so.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Then there was. I did actually like DX because I just loved how they kept trolling at fucking Vince McMahon. That was just funny. That was just pure fun. And then there was The Rock, who was basically the people's champion, and he liked to play that a lot.
See, I always liked The Rock when he was a bad guy.
He's a great bad guy.
He's a great bad guy.
He was so great with the corporation. I remember when he'd start doing his thing, he'd be like, "If you smell," and then the audience would start chanting with him because he was popular, even though he was a bad guy. And he'd turn to the crowd and he'd go, "Shut your mouth! This ain't sing along with the great one." He'd go back to doing what he is. That was
I hate you for liking me.
Dude, one of the best things was he ended up getting over with the fans because he came out. He originally premiered as Rocky Maivia.
Mm.
You guys remember that?
Yeah, of course.
He came out, he full fucking face, and he was just fucking lame. And then he came out, and people are just like, "Die, Rocky, die!" And you know, people had signs up, "Rocky sucks," you know, and just telling him that he's a horrible person. Meanwhile, this dude, he never was like a heel, never once at that point in time. He was never a heel character. And eventually, they were just like, "Fuck it, let's just make him a heel character." Everybody hates him, and then they let him speak his mind, and then all of a sudden, you know, now he's a mega fucking star and a
Nation
legend.
of Domination,
Mm.
and then he went over to the when he went over to the corporation, then they were rolling on all cylinders because then you had the Rock and Austin feud.
Dude, that
that-
right there, still one of the best feuds in wrestling ever, because they went through that feud more than once and it stayed fresh every.
Oh yeah, every time. I still think the best of their matches was at WrestleMania 15. With the first one, the very first one at WrestleMania is still amazing. Second time around, I think Austin was a little too banged up. And then the last one was Austin's retirement match, so of course he wasn't up to par.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it was that first
It's
one
hard to
was
be up
just-
to par after all that, though. I mean, his knees and his neck, that's way too much for that poor fucking bastard, but he did
Oh
it.
yeah.
though.
There is one thing I
I
want
think
to
those-
put out there though. My favorite tag
What's that?
team, the Rock and Sock Connection. That tag team was so unlikely, but it worked really, really well. This whole storyline behind it was brilliant. The fact they actually made it to a championship was even fucking better. It was just awesome.
Dude, you want to know what? It's one of those few instances, because a lot of times they force tag teams together. They just take, you know, two singles competitors, put them together, and all of a sudden you're a tag team. But the thing is, they took two characters that had good chemistry with each other in ring.
Mm.
And not just like wrestling and everything, because I mean, if anybody, oh my God, what is it? The one I Quit match, or what? Damn, I think it was an I Quit match. It's the one where The Rock, I mean, he hits Mankind, aka McFoley, like 20 something times in the head with a steel
chair.
chair. Was that the I Quit match, or
That
was
was
Oh,
the
you talking about the one at the
Royal
Royal Rumble,
Royal Rumble
96?
I
99?
99?
see?
Yeah.
I forget which one it is. I remember that The Rock. That's when he was wearing that all black getup that he had for a while. Like this, it looked like a speed track running suit.
Yeah,
or
he had a
some shit.
sports suit on because he had just gotten breast reduction surgery, believe it or not. But
Yeah, but they had brought that up whenever he came back. Cena tried using it to get one up over him, and nobody cared. But
Yeah, nobody gave a fuck.
everybody was just like, "Yeah, way to go there, PG Cena." But no, it was just, I mean, it was fucking brutal. And you saw these guys, I mean, literally take it to each other. Then all of a sudden, you know, here, this is your life, Rocky. And that was like one of the best moments on Raw, hands down. Just Mankind bringing in all these people from, you know, The Rock's past, his girlfriend, his teacher, his coach, and everything. And The Rock just tears into every fucking one of them. And I remember me and my mom just laughing our asses
Oh
off.
man,
'cause it was
and
incredible.
you know that segment is the highest rated segment in the history of Raw's War.
It's not fucking surprising. Like,
It
dude,
was over a
it's-
7. It was like a 7 point something. I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and they'll never get stuff like that back because they're just like, oh, PG rated. Don't want to offend any parents out there, and it's just like, you know what? Don't have your fucking kid watch then. Just shut the fuck up.
And that whole segment, I hate to break it to all the haters out there, but Vince Russo wrote that entire thing. So hate to break it to you, but anyways, what about Yellkaos, man? What about you?
Yeah.
What's your
Well,
favorite
you know, to illustrate my favorite era, I kind of have to, you know, give you a little bit of a pre-story, so I will. I first discovered professional wrestling in 1987, late 1987. I was 4.5 years old, and the TV just happened to be on. You remember those periods when you were a kid and everyone just kind of left the room and the TV was on? You could watch whatever you want.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It didn't happen very often. And for me, the channel just happened to be on, I think it was on Channel 7, which is the ABC affiliate here. And I got to see something called Saturday Night's Main Event.
Oh
Which I had never heard of before. And I kind of, you know, I was only 4, so I mean, I'd heard of wrestling, but I didn't really, like, you know, understand it. And then one day my dad he came in while I was watching this. He goes, "Oh, these guys are a bunch of fakers," and I didn't understand. I just knew that there was Hulk Hogan was involved, and there was a steel cage match, and I said, "What the hell is this?" They're in a cage and they're hitting the thing, and I'm like, I have to watch this. And I watched the whole program, and it was great. And I said, when can I watch more of this? And then somehow they did an advertisement for WWF or E or whatever, WWF Superstars, which came on Saturdays, and I was hooked from then on. My favorite era, though, happens to be, the late middle to the end of the Hogan era, and where that cascaded into the new generation.
Yeah,
I thought
that's that whole era with from late 80s to mid 90s.
I want to say late 87 until about late 94.
Yeah, something like that.
So,
So you were hold on, steel cage match on Saturday night's main event, and it was Hulk Hogan. Was it with Big Boss Man?
I think so. I'm not absolutely certain. I just remember Hulk Hogan in a steel cage match. And now I'd seen wrestling matches before, but I'd never seen a steel cage.
Yeah.
And it's like it just hit me on a totally different level. Like, I don't understand. I like violence, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was a coming of age thing.
That's great.
And just during that period, so many great things happened. I got to see. Now I got to see this through the magic of the video store. The video store, one particular video store that's close to our house had all the pay-per-views on video cassette.
Oh yeah.
All of them. I mean, anyone that you can think of. Now, there was a time in WWE where there was the Big Four. There was the Royal Rumble. There was the Pennsylvania. The WrestleMania. God damn it. That's how you know there's no editing on this show.
Exactly.
SummerSlam and Survivor Series. Now, of those four, my favorite being the Royal Rumble. And I'll tell you why. Number one, I love Battle Royals. And number two, now, you guys feel free to disagree with me on this, but at least during that era, the Royal Rumble always set up what was going to be a great WrestleMania. And then somewhere between the, beginning of February and the middle of March, they managed to fuck the entire thing up.
Well, and it wasn't originally for a shot at the world title at WrestleMania. It was originally just kind of... Yeah, it was originally just like a feather in your cap, basically. And you would generally be in a main event feud after that, but it wasn't like officially said, okay, you're going to fight the, you're going to headline WrestleMania or anything.
But what's funny is if you think about it, if they had set that in stone as a tradition, can you imagine how, rabid fans would be about that by now?
Yeah,
because it's not like a cliche because it's old news, it's always been, but, when you got a good premise, leave it the fuck alone.
It's true.
Don't fix what isn't broken. I understand things need to evolve and so on, but anyway, during my tenure of watching wrestling, in the most concentrated era, from the late 1980s to 1987 on, but I was lucky enough to a few years later be exposed to World Championship Wrestling just after it broke. It was Jim Crockett Promotions and then became World Championship Wrestling. And now I got to see Jim Ross call for World Championship Wrestling WCW Prime on because we had just got a satellite TV. Remember the big satellite TVs that the dish had to move and shit.
Yeah.
Dude, we could track sonars in deep space with this thing. And
with that thing, dude. There was this thing that wrestling fans used to do because WWE Raw was pre-taped, and not pre-taped. It was live, but it was taped 5 minutes before you saw it on TV.
Yeah.
And so they had to send the rushes back to the editing facility in Connecticut. And so you could actually tune to a specific channel on your satellite TV and get the unedited rushes that didn't have commentary over them and stuff like that. And you could see mistakes. There's videos of them on YouTube. People have uploaded them, and it's great. It's stuff like Jim Cornette talking crap about people in the ring and stuff like that. Just great stuff that never made it into the end up.
You know what would have been so great is if now Razor, you're a smart like me. You're pretty familiar with the jargon and terminology, right?
Yeah.
You're familiar with the gorilla position.
Yeah. But
for those who don't know what the gorilla position, that's where Gorilla Monsoon used to sit, just inside the curtain, in front of some monitors, and be on top of the control of who's going out and when. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine how great it would be to watch some of that stuff if they just got the wrong feed of what Gorilla Monsoon was actually saying?
Yeah.
Because you know there's got to be people in that company who see these wrestlers and go, will you look at this faggot? Will you look at this guy? This guy, they pay this fucking asshole to come out here? You know, that's Jim Cornette talking, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
And
But,
he
you know,
says stuff like
was
that
your
frequently.
favorite. Yours was
All the
basic-
time.
Yours was
He
basic-
bitches at people in drive-through windows, too.
So your favorite is unequivocally the Hogan era. Was that your favorite wrestler?
No, not in the slightest. My favorite wrestler. Well, I look at it nostalgically now, but I realize why I loved it so much as a kid, because looking back, it was so conveniently set up to be pleasing.
Oh, it's like a comic
Just-
book in life.
Yeah, just like some of the. I could not believe the bullshit mechanics that were put into play to have a convenient ending.
Yeah.
I would like to direct you to the main event, WrestleMania 9, in Las Vegas, Nevada, at Caesar's Palace. Do you remember that fucking bullshit?
I sure do.
Fucking Mr. Fuji cheats to beat Bret Hart for the World Championship. Yokozuna wins, and then Yokozuna, without any sanction, no contracts, no nothing, calls out Hulk Hogan, who came to, help Bret Hart cry for a while. And then, Hogan gets in here, and they go for another throw of the salt in the eye. It doesn't work out. Yokozuna falls down because, as you know, salt increases gravity. And then Hulk Hogan, with his cowboy boots, throws the heaviest leg. Now, he was already noticeably, thinner. He was losing weight because he was, on TV now. He was, the WWF wasn't his main gig anymore.
Well, and it was after the steroid trial, so he was...
It was right after that, so he kind of, dropped some of that. And he throws this devastating leg, which looks like, let's face it, a 46-year-old man's leg, and goes for the pin, and is once again World Wrestling Federation champion. Are you fucking kidding me?
So you didn't answer. Who's your favorite wrestler?
Who's my favorite wrestler? You know what? I'm gonna have to say my favorite wrestler from that era anyway is Bret the Hitman Hart.
Okay, awesome. So and he was king during my favorite.
He was king shit during that era, and you know what? I liked him so much better when he was a bad guy, actually. And because when that came in with the Attitude Era, because I liked it so much because of the angle, and this is. I don't want to give too much credit to anybody in Titan Sports Organization, Vince McMahon or anybody like that, but that was an interesting angle, that he was a villain only in the U.S.
Yeah, that was really... They tried that again with Team Canada later on, but it didn't work out as well.
What's Team Canada? Was that Natty Neidhart and that all the brothers?
No,
and the cousins?
No. That was in the early 2000s. Lance Storm and Edge.
Lance Storm was still wrestling in the early 2000s?
Yeah, Lance Storm and Edge and Chris Jericho, I think. It was Team Canada.
Canadian?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I knew about Edge. Okay.
And over in Canada, they were over like Rover, but over here, they were obviously big time heels because this was post 9/11, and anybody who wasn't American was evil and blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And that there was a lot of bumper stickers sold on that premise. I remember.
So, anyways, my favorite era is the New Generation era from 94 to 97. About. And,
is that because of Goldust?
It is because of Goldust. It is directly because of Goldust. Goldust is my favorite wrestler on the fucking planet. And,
anyway, before you go on about Goldust, talk about Marlena's tits for a minute.
Yes.
Goldust bought them for her, and they were quite expensive.
They
What
look
do you do,
amazing.
chop off
She
his
was in
testicles?
WCW. And
What do you do? Chop
she
off
was
his
in
testicles to pay for them?
when she was in WCW as Alexandra York, she was flat as the fucking Utah Salt Flats. I mean, she was seriously like just paper. But then she married Dustin, and suddenly. But anyway.
Suddenly she got some of that Dusty money.
Gazungas.
Let me tell you, baby.
So, but yeah, that was my favorite era.
I
I
like
liked it. It was Shawn Michaels was on top, and he was a great champion. And Bret Hart was on top a good chunk of that time, and he was also a great champion. And Diesel, Razor Ramon, Ultimate Warrior came back in '96, and was really good at the very beginning. And then when he went away, then he just kind of petered out and went away. And
Again.
very similar to the first time.
And it was really fun to watch because Hunter Hearst Helmsley was being shit on, which was great, and he was not popular at all. He was, because he had participated in the curtain call, which a lot of people have heard about. It was the when Kevin Nash and Razor Ramon were leaving for WCW.
Oh, the big
Shawn-
hug.
There was some big cage match, and they all had a big hug in the ring, even though they're all supposed to be faces and heels, and they exposed the business, basically. And Triple H got in there and hugged with them. And Vince McMahon can't punish Shawn Michaels because he's the champion. And he can't punish Diesel and Razor Ramon because they're leaving. So Triple H got fucked in the ass for the better part of the year, and it was fun to watch. So it was great because he came out at WrestleMania 12 and Ultimate Warrior's making his big in-ring debut, and Ultimate Warrior beat him in like 40 seconds. It was
That's about all the Warrior's good for is 40 seconds.
that's what I want to see when I watch Ultimate Warrior. So
Well,
it was all.
Isn't that funny, though, how he started his rise by beating the Honky Tonk Man in like 35 seconds and then ended his rise?
But it was a great era because you had the beginning of the Undertaker-Mankind feud because Mankind had just been brought in.
Boiler Room Brawl and Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell.
Boiler Room Brawl, a lot of people think that happened during the Attitude Era. It did not. It happened in the New Generation Era.
Yep.
The casket matches, gosh, Goldust and Undertaker had an amazing casket match at Beware of Dog. That was amazing. And that was like a three-way feud a lot of people don't know. The Mankind-Undertaker feud started as Undertaker versus Goldust. And then he brought in Mankind, and then they did their own thing.
And it's cool because Undertaker and Goldust, I mean, a lot of people forget Goldust is a big fucking dude. And he
Oh,
can
yeah.
move. Like, he can really move.
Yeah, he's huge. He's like 6'6". Is what
Yeah, I mean, okay, and put this into perspective.
How did
I mean,
that come out of Dusty Rhodes again?
It took very, very carefully.
It took a long time, let me tell you, baby.
But, he really didn't get the fucking credit that he deserved. He seriously fucking didn't. As far as gimmick characters go, I mean, he's way up there. I won't say that he'll ever be above Undertaker. Undertaker takes the fucking cake as far as gimmicks goes. I mean, he's the Undertaker.
I think Undertaker and Goldust are on the same level, and I think they're just as important because it's Goldust is the Attitude Era. It started with him. It was pre-Austin 316. It was him talking about blowing dudes on national television. That was way more racy than anything they did in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And he was doing that in 1995.
Yeah, it wasn't even on HBO or anything.
And he's like, he gets on Raw, and him and Undertaker, he gets in the ring, and they knock. I think Mankind attacked him from behind, and Goldust takes his robe off, and he's rubbing Undertaker all over, and he's talking about he's like, "Do you know what rigor mortis is, dead man?"
Oh my god.
It's a stiffening of the muscles.
What's even worse is, okay, as somebody that's saying stuff like this to you, keep in mind Undertaker's main finishing move at the time is to pick you up, turn you upside down where your crotches and faces meet one another. He can't do this anymore now. I mean, rationally, think about it. If he does that, Goldust still wins, even if the Undertaker gets the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and that was another
No,
cool
there's
thing.
no overcoming this. No pun intended. I didn't mean
And
I didn't
another-
mean to make
In
that
saying that, look at the last ride. That's another
Oh,
move.
that's when he was doing the whole motorcycle. I'm going to be
No,
a
but-
chatty Cathy.
No, but you're just talking about sticking your face in the people's crotches. Well, look at the
Yeah.
last ride.
Oh no, the last ride can be summed up with one word and one word only, and that's wedgie.
Oh
That's
yeah.
it.
Actually, I could say the last ride could be summed up with, just a few words. Oh God, my knees. Seriously, you cannot keep doing that for 20 years to dudes that weigh upwards of 300 pounds. You can't do it every night.
No, that's
Yeah,
true.
I agree.
Does he? I mean, I can't believe he does it anymore. But it's his knee
Well, he
problems.
doesn't really. He's kind of done.
Anyway,
Yeah, but I will say this. The Attitude Era did bring us the Montreal screw job too.
And that was a big part of bringing, wrestling back to the mainstream. That was a big part of it. But I think it all started in 1996 with the New Generation Era, with first the debut of Goldust in late 95. That was huge. And then in King of the Ring 96, Austin did the Austin 316 speech. And that was all New Generation Era. That was not Attitude Era.
And that was very controversial.
Oh, and you want to know what was great about it? That when I had mentioned earlier, when they were just like, "Yeah, go ad lib your fucking lines and everything," you got this much time. there was no writers that told Stone Cold, hey, go say this. He went out there because at the time, Jake Roberts, Jake the Snake Roberts, he was doing this entire like Bible thumping thing with his character, and he was talking about John 3:16, and obviously that's them to. Oh, you talk about your John 3:16. Well, Austin 3:16 says I just whooped your ass, and people were just like, "You're the fucking man."
Well,
and it's kind of hard
and that
not
was-
to say.
You know what's so amazing? What's so amazing about that to me is how like a split second after he said that, like Vince McMahon and Pat Patterson are like, did he just shit on the Bible?
Oh no, you have no idea. Let me tell you a little story about that, man. When Austin was going to
I
go
knew you'd
out,
have a story.
he had it planned out, mind you. He had it planned out ahead of time. He knew exactly what he wanted to say at King of the Ring. He knew exactly what he was like. I don't care if they tell me to say something else. I'm going to go out there and say it. He was gonna break the script in half if he had to. So
This
he
is why
goes
he was
by-
stunning Steve.
Yeah, and Vince
Under
Russo,
the ringmaster.
Vince Russo wasn't writing for TV at the time, but he was involved in the creative team and he was writing promos for people. So everything that the guys said, they had to run it by Vince Russo first. And so Vince Russo's off like writing promos and he's like not paying attention. And Austin runs by him and he's like, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say this. And Austin 3:16. And he hears it out of the corner of his ear and he's like, oh, whatever, Austin, just go ahead. Go ahead and do it. And then once he performed it, he's like, oh, shit. This is going to be huge. So he goes and he was doing WWF Magazine at the time, and he writes up the front page cover story is Austin 3:16, and Austin's standing there in a leather vest, and there's fire behind him and whatever, and he takes up the magazine to Vince McMahon. And he slaps it on his desk, and he's like, well, there's our new issue. And Vince McMahon's like, what the fuck is this? He's like, what is the Austin 3:16? What is this? Get this off my magazine. I don't know what this is. Are you trying to be sacrilegious here? We're going to get religious groups and blah, blah, blah. Like, he didn't get it at all. And that's why it took a while. People think Austin 3:16 started and then it just exploded. But it took about, 2 years before it was really big.
Well, there was noticeable
I
programming
don't think it
resistance.
took 2 years. I wouldn't say that because if you remember, I'm not saying like immediately after the whole King of the Ring thing. I'm talking like a couple months in, him just coming out. I mean, there was people like you saw there were signs coming in.
Well, the signs were there, but I'm talking like the full-on Fuhrer, like the selling the shirts and him using it constantly in promos and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Well, that was bound to like blow up. They also weren't giving him a full push just yet. I mean, he won King of the Ring, but he was still technically at the time. He was still technically mid-card.
Yeah.
At that
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
So, just to try and move this on a little bit, we've just spoke
exactly.
about our favorite wrestling eras. Now let's try and get back onto a video game related thing.
Oh man!
Oh, shut up!
All
Shut up.
right,
No, I'm
fine.
just thinking.
I just want to say this. I
Got
just
30
want to talk
seconds.
about.
1, 2.
Okay, Stone Cold helped blur the lines between face and heel, and that was what was so important to wrestling.
There we go. Right. What about favorite
So-
wrestling games? Now,
Favorite wrestling games? Holy fucking shit!
I know how many there is.
Man, we're gonna have to do that in another podcast. We don't even have
Well,
time.
I've got.
Well, I'm gonna do it real quick. My favorite is WrestleFest for the arcade.
RazörFist?
Stick one right now.
WrestleMania 2000.
On the N64.
You
Of 'em.
fucker. He picked mine. God damn it.
Go on,
Attitude?
No, I don't want attitude. It doesn't play nearly as well. Fucking WCW versus NWO Revenge because you had to pick 2000. But that one, it's made by the same people, and that game fucking rocks. Rock and Sock Connection. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, no, good
There
game.
we go. Mine was SmackDown. Mine was SmackDown 2 on the PlayStation 1 because you could make your own stables, make your own tag teams and everything. And even if you did select The Rock and Mankind together, it came up with Rock and Sock Connection. And when you're 15 years old and you see that, and you're like, yes, awesome.
It knows.
Oh, and the story mode in that was so great too. The season.
Oh, you could
mode.
play that forever.
Yeah.
It was a pain in the balls though, because you had to go when you were doing season mode. Like, say you're playing as, let's say, Gangrel, because I always play as Gangrel, and so I'm playing through there, and it's an episode of SmackDown, and I'm booked against Edge. I'm like the third match of the night. You have to sit and simulate every single other match. Now that
Oh my god, I remember that.
that sounds easy, right? You just skip and it'll say this guy won, this guy lost. Nope. It goes into a separate screen where you get their life bars, and their life bars go down and this stupid music plays.
I remember that.
Every single match I could have thrown my controller through this.
But still, it was an awesome game.
Ridiculous. Great game,
Yes.
though. Yeah.
Great game, except for the parts that
I
suck.
just want to throw another one
Yeah.
out there. Raw on the Xbox.
What's that?
Raw
Good,
and Raw,
good.
Raw 2 on the Xbox
There
were
was-
fantastic. Because on Raw,
Pretty
Wasn't
good.
that one of the first generation
Well-
games?
WrestleMania 21 was not so good, though.
Mhm.
That one. Yeah. But anyways, like, continuing on, we have more topics to talk about, I think.
And WrestleMania 18 on the GameCube sucks hard ass too.
yeah. If you want that Day of Reckoning,
Not just soft ass, but hard ass. Anyway, you know what? There's something that we've been meaning to talk about for a while, and we've kind of been hitting at it a little bit here and there over the last however long. But here's one thing that I want to know, and what Sainted Magnus wants to know, and also RazörFist and Alpha Omega said we want to know: when the fuck is the next generation going to start, or is it? Sainted Magnus?
2014 earliest for me.
You think
Yeah.
so? You think-
Because
No, I think we'll see it teased in 2013, and then probably, yeah, you're right. You're probably by 2014 we'll start to actually see them.
yeah,
come
probably
out.
2014. Because no matter which way you coin it, the Wii U is not a 8th generation console. It's just a Wii.
yeah,
XD.
we all know what you think anyway.
No, I'm just saying an opinion. So let me get it out there. The Wii U is not a 7th generation console, no matter which way you cut it, no matter which way you dress it, because it cannot compete when Xbox and Sony decide to drop their next fucking machines.
What makes you say that? The Wii seems to fare just fine against your PlayStation 3.
Yeah, but that was a gimmick. It was
but-
gimmick. It was gimmick for 2 years.
And
2 years. Look at how
And-
far that fucking fell.
seems to still be doing quite fine. I'm not seeing your point.
You know,
We've reached a point where the technology can only go so far. I don't think this next generation. If this next generation is all about technology, no one will be able to afford to be able to put this thing together.
Yeah, but where's the games for this Wii U thing? Where are the
I
games?
understand.
Where are
That's
they?
but where are the games for the PlayStation 4? There aren't any.
Well, we know that because it's not. All we've got is tech specs for Xbox fucking 3 and.
And from what I can tell, all we got is fucking tech specs for the
And we know how accurate those tech specs are.
I know,
You remember
right?
last generation when they were like, "Oh, the Xbox 360 will be able to cook food for you, and it'll be able to make complex calculations of cosmic positioning and blah blah blah."
Yeah, and,
I've been saying blah 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 a lot.
yeah, but
Yeah. And the PlayStation 4 will be able to change the oil in your car.
that'll be awesome.
I like how we all turned into British gentlemen.
We became very British just then, yes.
Capital.
Just
Paramount!
just do me this one favor.
What's
Don't
that?
ever do a posh British accent again. When you're talking to someone who's
What's
working
the
fucking
matter, old
class.
bean?
Ah,
God. It's like you just
We'll cut your face with a bread knife. We'll go right down the middle. We'll cut your face.
I think just for that, old bean, I'll speak like this the rest of the episode.
Oh.
Capital.
Good thing we're towards the end. Paramount!
uh,
Anyway, but you know, the better question is, what is going to define the next generation? Because if, like I said, if you're gonna, let this all hinge on tech specs, I'm pretty sure that this generation has shown that, it's already a beast that cannot be fed. Where can you possibly go? The only place you can go is to go back to being unique.
Yeah,
yeah.
that'll never
I think they
happen.
should drop all cross class, personally.
I mean, you could liken it to cars. Everyone thought that the hybrid car was a really stupid fucking idea a few years ago, and
Everyone in Hollywood's got
now-
one.
yeah, well, those are the people that influence culture. So what I'm saying is, if someone takes the reins and actually figures out how to make an actual enjoyable entertainment experience that is somehow different, I know that's a really, wild concept
is.
and everything, then we just might be okay. But I really don't think that, this model of this next generation being even more powerful technically is a sustainable business model. I just don't see
I
it
think
happening.
I think the angle that they've got to go with is reliability. Well, look at how reliable the
That too.
Xbox is. Look at how
Gotta have
reliable the
a machine that's
PlayStation 3 has been. They they break after 4 or 5 years.
And the Xbox 360.
I did mention that, but you kept fucking waffling when I was talking.
No, but I know what you mean. Hey, fuck you! I'm sympathizing with you. Anyway,
because I'm right.
Yeah, and we had that problem last generation too. The Xbox One had a problem with the disk drive. It liked to stop opening after a while. And the PS2, we all know about the lens issues.
Oh god, the lens issues were terrible on them things.
Yeah, I mean, it
had to come with assholes leaving the goddamn drawer open for 60 days and 60 nights.
Yeah, but and then there was a problem with the Xbox in later life when they decided to spontaneously combust in your front room before the Xbox 360 was launched, and then Xbox actually, to the credit, did say that we've had this problem. Go onto this website, put your address in, and we'll send you out a trip switch for it. Which was good of them, give them credit where it's due. They sorted it out there and then. But it was inexcusable for it to happen on the brand new system that people have paid, what, £400 or £500 for?
Yeah.
Why? That's what they need to nail this next generation, is reliability and just basically work with the customer, not try and shaft us every fucking moment they get.
Well, that's exactly the thing. I mean, we're coming out of, an era that was fraught with prosperity, and going into an era that is going to be a lot about austerity, if you know what I mean. And I don't think anyone's taking notes at all. They just seem to keep forging on ahead as if no one's noticing. Hey, come here so we can fuck you.
Exactly.
I didn't know how else to punctuate that. I don't think anyone's taking any notice, and I really don't think that, I'm skeptical about the next generation. I think if, things do not improve, the big three, or at least Microsoft and Sony, who've kind of taken a back seat in the last year to see what Nintendo's going to do, I think they would be smarter to exit the market if things don't get any better. That's not coming from me as a gamer. That's coming from me as a businessman, and I have to, accept this reality.
Yes, but there is one thing we got to watch out for. There is one thing we have to watch out for. This Ouya. This could be a surprise.
This could be a surprise, and you know what? It could be a room for another surprise. But I just think that I've always said that a crash or a demise can be good because it can bring rebirth. That's for those of you that are very loyal to one series or platform or otherwise. That'll be very detrimental to your pocketbook. But is there hope for May I ask everyone on the podcast, is there hope? See? You see that? You see that? Guys who love gaming like this? I
don't know, but at least we...
I mean, if they stop fucking people, maybe.
There's only one thing I can say, really, and that's thank God I've still got my cartridge games.
That's...
Yeah, they ain't fucking up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just don't do that so much. They'll be okay.
You don't need to own so much. No, it just goes to show that if you look after something, it still fucking works. What, 20 years down the line?
Oh, absolutely. Yep. And it goes to show that cost cutting got us exactly where we are.
I mean, look at much as I hate Sony, look at the PS1. I don't know anyone who's had a broken PS1 console.
That's a good point. How
just kind of chills there. I'm sure the disc reader maybe fucks up after a while, but I've never, it's certainly not a prevalent problem.
No, it's not. It's usually due to, it's round about now that the lasers start to go, and it's usually due to wear on the motors. That's all it is.
Or someone has to deal with the loading times and they just throw it against the wall.
Yeah. but you can actually buy a brand new PS1. What you do, you go down to an electrical outlet and you buy a PlayStation 3.
It's true. It's true. It does play PS1.
And it plays them very...
That way you can watch... you can watch all your favorite manga. You can watch all your cartoons in high def on Blu-ray.
Blu-ray?
Where's in these fucking...
Continuing on.
Continuing on. What about Alpha? He's been susceptibly quiet through this bit.
I've been listening to everybody.
He's been brooding.
Go on, then. What can you say?
I mean, in addition to what everybody else has said, I mean, in general, I just honestly, I really am not extremely hopeful for the next generation if the companies haven't learned from their many mistakes that they made during this one, and I fear that they haven't. Like, I really do. And as far as like when do I think the next generation of consoles will occur, now I would have to agree with saying it. I think that it will be within 2014. I don't really consider the next generation to start until everybody's in full swing, though, because for one person to be out the gate, you're all the content is still fresh. They're getting a handle of the fucking hardware and everything. So it's not as next gen as it should be. When everybody's out there and you're getting a handle of a whole bunch of different things, then it's more like it. Now, I think that it could be maybe 2014, the holiday season. We'll see the next PlayStation, Xbox, maybe. I think that I can't imagine them waiting till 2015. It just doesn't seem realistic. Especially considering the tons and tons of things that developers and publishers have said that they have had their hands on the development kits from Microsoft and from Sony from the next generation. And we've also gotten to see 2 different graphical engines of, from the next Unreal Engine and then Square Enix's engine. So we already see that they are working on stuff right now. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. RazörFist, any more?
Well, that's all nice and depressing.
RazörFist, anything to add to that?
No, I don't give a fuck.
When is the next generation coming? Never.
Quite frankly, I'm still trying to play catch up with a whole lot of different things from this console gen.
Yeah.
So I don't need to move on into another one because I'm still like, oh wait, I got a big stack of Nintendo Wii games and some 360 games I haven't gotten to. Well, shit. Wait, another console gen? Well, I'm fucked.
Yep.
If you haven't seen it, it's new to you.
Yeah.
The best part is, though, this next generation, we're going to have a lot to hate if they do, in fact, make
Well,
stuff.
it keeps us in jobs, doesn't it?
Keeps us in business.
Yep.
Anyway, you know what? We're getting towards the end of the podcast.
Yay.
We're getting towards the end of the segment. Yeah, I know, where we all get to rest. And you fine folks, we thank you for joining us. But you know what? Hey, it's time for my favorite part. It's time for your favorite part. It's time for the rant. And the rant today is brought to us by Mr. Fist himself, RazörFist.
It's Mr.
Razor?
Fister. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
Mr. Fister is the appropriate title.
Yes. Mr. Fister's Fister Mister for when you need mist on your face in the form of a fist.
Fisting.
It's like that's my Christian name. So today I'm going to discuss, I think, the cancellation of Final Fantasy Versus XIII. Now, an awful lot of people are sobbing into the pillow about this cancellation, and I feel I need to temper their sadness.
Try the tears, mate.
I mean, it's not exactly like a state secret that I've had my battles with the grating, bubbly Animu monolith known as Square Enix, and I can't lay the conflict solely at the feet of Square Enix's continued sort of abasement and degradation of its own franchises. Or even at the fact that for the entirety of the PS2's life cycle, they seem to regurgitate every conceivable JRPG cliche like week old cud and tried to sell it to you as a brand new IP. Oh, what's that? You enjoyed Final Fantasy X? Well, you'll love penultimate Final Fantasy III. With all the walking comb-overs, with more belt buckles than personality traits and heady narrative contrivance you've come to invite with quivering anus. No, in my opinion, it's not all their fault. Indeed, I think when I chose the title of my second episode as Final Fantasy VII equals balls, I tended to sort of rile the fucking waters just a smidge.
Shameless plug.
So let's just get it right on. Let's get it out of the way. All right. I don't even like the good Final Fantasy video games all that much. And I've admitted this on multiple occasions. You know Final Fantasy VI, the 16-bit messiah that every disillusioned fanboy hurriedly alleges is the last known point of genuine brilliance for the series? Yeah, I wouldn't piss on it to extinguish a fire. Not that it's bad, it's just nothing I'm particularly interested in. And believe me, I've given it more spins than a Tasmanian Victrola. Yes, I made a Victrola reference. It's just not up my fucking alley. Having offered up that disclaimer, and now having set the stage for my self-evident disdain for the series at large, I want to make the following supplication, the following plea to all of you in the audience. If you find yourself at such a dark, disillusioned place in your miserable existence that you actually express disappointment in Square Enix's admission that they've elected to cancel the fucking vaporware that is Final Fantasy XIII Versus, seek fucking therapy. If every entry in the series since motherfucking 7 hasn't soured you on the series, what in the fuck franchise won't you part your twitching lavender-scented anus for? Fold your cheeks, drop your skirt, and grow some standards. I mean, you're like a battered spouse at this point. No matter how many times Square Enix gets their load on, no matter how many times they get drunk and beat you from pillar to post with a fucking keyblade, you're almost reflexive and anticipatory in your desire to lie to your friends and say, "Oh, I fell down the stairs." Square Enix isn't going to learn anything until you bust out the pepper spray, shout, "Let go of my purse," and "I don't know you," before reeling back and kicking them flush in the fucking pills. All right? Final Fantasy Versus XIII didn't look that good. On its best possible day, it looked incrementally less shit. And when that becomes the measuring bar, you may as well bury that limbo stick in the fucking ground, because you set the bar so apocalyptically low at that point, you'll need round-trip fare to China to fucking participate. A nation deserves its leaders, and more to the point, a game deserves its publishers. I'm RazörFist, God fucking.
Yay.
Bravo,
Clap, clap,
bravo.
clap.
Oh.
You know what? Hey, who are you giving the clap to?
Wait, I said
yeah.
clap, 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 clap. So technically, 3 for you and 1 for me. We all have the clap. Look, I'm sharing.
It sounds like you're
Sharing
giving.
is caring.
Hey, it sounds to me like you're giving the clap to the entire internet. So knock that off.
Yeah.
Ah, damn it.
Anyway, I want to applaud the Victrola reference. I really do.
Dude, I want to applaud the. I muted my fucking mic when you brought up the Keyblade part because I knew that I was actually laughing pretty hard when you said that. I was just like, ha 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 ha.
It's like an abusive relationship. Is it not? Is it not like an abusive relationship?
No, it's absolutely like an abusive relationship. You know, it's like, oh, you got hurt. Well, I fell on some bullets.
I want to actually come in and add my 2 cents only because my silly ass made a video about this one very thing. As a matter of fact, me and RazörFist were talking briefly about it.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I can say that I guess that I would fall under the demographic of the abused spousal, or abused spouse, rather, is the fact that I grew up, playing them all the games on Super Nintendo and PlayStation, the heyday. And that's what I looked at them at. I revered them as one of the best companies ever. Publisher, developer, just amazing. And it's just like, damn, you fucked up. Oh, you fucked up. Oh, you're doing something good. And you want to go pat them on the back because you know they can do good, but they just keep fucking up. It's like they have a drug addiction and you're trying to get them off of it. When they start doing good, you're like, fuck yeah. But it's just, Versus 13 to me looked fucking incredible. In Type 0 on PSP, again, looked incredible. And instead, we got 13, then 13.2. And in September, they're going to give us 13.3.
Oh.
And that's the irony, is this was supposed to be a 3-part series. We were supposed to get 13, Type 0, and Versus 13. And whether you love or hate them, it was supposed to be that trilogy. And everybody who speaks English, okay, anybody outside of Japan has only gotten to see one of those games. That's kind of fucked for anybody that's a fan, and and I had said this, how much can you take before you just go elsewhere? And there's plenty of fucking options. It just sucks that you have to go elsewhere because you shouldn't have to. You really should, and it's just I challenged the contention that Versus 13 looked good, though. Like I said, I think it looked incrementally less shitty. I think it looked like a step in the right direction, and when you really can't use that as a standard because it's like there's so many games out there. Like I mentioned earlier with Borderlands, it's like, oh, the developer didn't shit themselves. Game of the year. You know what I mean?
Like,
we also have to think about this is a completely different company compared to what we were, really running around with whenever we were younger. And that's the thing that I keep in mind. I look at somebody like, I don't know, like Mistwalker, for instance. That's like Team Final fucking Fantasy to me. There, that's one of many companies that's just like got their shit together, and I don't get it. I'm just like, what the fuck, man? I want you guys to do good. I know you can do good, but just what the fuck? Learn from your mistakes. Look at what's working and what isn't.
Please.
It's a bit like it's a bit like BioWare. BioWare is like, it's like either Eidos Montreal or maybe Obsidian to a degree is like what BioWare was like 4 years ago. Halfway decent and releasing playable games, although Obsidian still can't release a finished version of one of their many interesting concepts. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's weird. Like these big developers that used to have this amazing library and this amazing track record are sort of marginalizing themselves and sequestering themselves from good game development in general. Their place is being taken over by these other developers. Eidos Montreal really impressed the hell out of me with Deus Ex Human Revolution. I think they impressed a lot of people. And that's why Thief 4 is such an important game for them, because it's going to show if they're a one-trick pony or not, or if that was just a fluke or what,
Hell, man,
But
there's one thing. I know that, like, by comparison, you're more of a Western RPG person, but
Definitely.
there's okay, well, I can't say one, two games that have caught my eye, and I'm always telling people, like, even if you don't like JRPGs, at the very least, for this generation, okay, well, 3 games, fuck it. Look at these 3 games as examples. Xenoblade Chronicles, The Last Story, and motherfucking Lost Odyssey, which we've brought up multiple times on this podcast. Okay, Lost Odyssey is fucking amazing, and I will say this to my dying breath. That is Final fucking Fantasy 13. You can argue with me until you want to know what? Fuck you. That's all I can tell you, because that is Final Fantasy 13. The proof is in the pudding. It just has a different name. That's it. But
yeah, totally.
All those other games, those are examples of companies out there. They're trying their damnedest to make something really fucking awesome. How is it a company that big, that talented, and with that kind of a fucking budget? You're squandering all that fucking talent and money, and you can't even do half as good as those other games that don't have nearly the same fucking resources.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with Square, though. Well, Square back in the 90s was... Well, you couldn't stop them, really, could you? They were releasing title after title after title that was good.
They were getting formulaic, though, in my opinion. At least on the PS1 era. I thought they got really formulaic, particularly towards the end of the PS1's life cycle, where they were like, we could do more gameplay here. Or we could just throw a script over to our CG studio and have some more cutscenes.
But at the very least, they had variety.
Yeah.
That's
true.
true.
A lot of it. I mean,
they had a lot more
Musashi,
variety. As a matter of fact,
Mindhunter.
I'm neglected to mention in the Circle Jerk, I'm playing through Parasite Eve again, the original.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's a perfect example. That is a perfect example of what you're talking about. An original battle system, very similar to, it reminds me of Quest 64 a little bit. It's you got the area that you can run around in. It's real time. It's it's kind of turn based, but not really.
And it's got a survival horror theme.
And it's got a kind of a survival horror edge to it. It's set in the modern day. It's a very different... It's back when Squaresoft could still experiment.
And then Third Birthday. and that's the thing right there. And anybody that will sit there and defend the fucking company after stuff like that, I can tell you the only 2 good things about that game. And if you even fucking try adding something else to this list, you're insane. Graphics. I'm sorry, but all Square Enix fucking games look amazing graphically. That's nothing new.
Wow, I thought for sure when you said 2 things, they were both going to be in Aya's blouse.
Oh no! I can actually get off to things other than polygons. So, but here's the thing. Okay,
if you can't, then you really have trouble.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I've come across people like that, and they're always scary. As a matter of fact, I probably offended somebody by saying that. But anyhow, the other thing that was good about the game is if this were just an action shooting game, the control was pretty decent. But guess what? It was supposed to be Parasite Eve.
Yeah.
An RPG. And it wasn't.
Yep.
And it was supposed to have a story. It didn't have that at all.
No, sir.
Nothing.
But
Painful.
Fucking horrible, man. And that was two of my favorite fucking games because they were so different. Especially Parasite Eve 2. That was like Resident Evil the RPG. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it
what
was.
it was
a
like.
little more. You could see they were waxing more in the action direction, but it was still Parasite Eve. It's
Oh,
such
and
a
it still
shame
works.
though to see Square Enix go. Because is there any doubt in your mind if they made a real AAA Parasite Eve sequel, more in the tradition of the first game, better graphics, more depth, added depth in terms of the RPG mechanics, in terms of maybe the customization? Is there any doubt in your mind that would sell gangbusters?
Oh, dude, and especially nowadays, because I mean, the fact is it's okay. I already said RPG, survival horror, two genres which we're not exactly just swimming in a sea of.
no, they seem to be screwing us with the choice at the moment.
Oh,
Exactly.
dude, it blows my fucking mind because it's just like you've got this extensive library. Okay, they had Xenogears. Guess what? That they lost that. They've had Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger, and then the long rumored forever and ever Chrono Break, which has never come to fruition whatsoever.
Chrono Cross was so bad, though. They kind of shot themselves in the foot. It was so disappointing after Chrono Trigger.
I mean, when you're comparing it to Chrono Trigger, it's Chrono Trigger's a fucking legend, though. I mean, it's a goddamn legend.
Yeah, but it's a misstep either way. It was not up to the standard of the first game. It was definitely a step in the wrong direction. It wasn't even as good as Breath of Fire 3. It wasn't even really up to the standards of RPGs of the day, in my opinion. Chrono Cross, but that's just me.
It did have one of the best twists I've seen in a game in a very, 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 very long time.
Meh.
Which I don't want to go and spoil that for anybody. If you've played the game, you already know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then play it, then you'll know what I mean. But it's a very unique twist on it, assuming we're just rolling with story. But again, comparing it to Chrono Trigger, I can't compare a whole ton of RPGs to Chrono Trigger and do it with a straight face because that game is fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah, and I think on that note, we should be thinking about ending, because...
Yeah, you know what? I think it's time for us to get out of here. So what have we learned today? We've learned that EA shot themselves in the foot.
Nothing new.
And, it's not the first time. We've also learned that Nintendo is grooming us for the new way. We've also found out that there's 1,000 episodes of Monday Night Raw. Fucking fantastic. We found out all kinds of things. We've also found out that things just plain were a lot better. Congratulations, you've all become your fathers. Anyway, you guys have been great. Joining me has been RazörFist.
Never forget the name of Razor Dust.
Oh, God.
Sainted Magnus.
Yes, I am the sainted one. I shall see you all next week when I am a bit more awake.
Alpha Omega Sin.
If you smell what Alpha Omega Sin is cooking.
You guys have been great. We have been the Hate Bit Podcast. Hater Nation, we coming for you, nigga! See ya!